The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. I don't remember how we were supposed to feel in this.
We didn't even talk about it.
We started. We never got to that.
No, we
it's
didn't.
a patron exclusive episode, folks. Yay! Joining me today is a man who, well, he prefers the other Jodie Benson singing film with giant animals. Welcome, Jacob.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host. But first, flattering Skype. Welcome, Drew.
What does this have to do with DuckTales? There was
I had no idea. I was waiting for a piece of armor to show up, and it didn't. Darn it.
Now I need a giant duck kaiju.
Just wait. There's probably one in that show.
Give it time.
Yeah.
Time. Also, joining us today is a man who must be convinced our show is about reviewing bad films, Nate Marchant.
The man, the legend.
Well, fly me to the frickin' moon.
That's my line.
Hey, the end of Evangelion is arguably a kaiju movie.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong in any fashion.
But we
will
didn't want to
never
torture you
watch
with
it
that one.
again because I subjected myself to it despite my friends warning me not to. And all I could say for 15 minutes after finishing it was, oh, good God.
I will give it this to just kind of flash back to last week's episode. It made more sense than the last half hour of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
Yeah, but 2001: A Space Odyssey didn't make me want to get some antidepressants.
That's very true.
I will never watch End of Evangelion again. I can't.
That is fair.
That is very fair. I probably
When I
won't
heard it was
either.
getting a theatrical re-release, I'm like,
No, we already missed that.
Yeah, that's
I'm
that's
like, you
past.
have fun with that. I don't need it in my life.
No, that was the week we recorded
I know
that episode.
I've been listening to your
It
episodes
was 200
in
miles away.
preparation.
Yeah, our closest one was 200 miles away. It's like, well, I don't know if to count myself lucky or not. Also, I think it was in Japanese only from what I remember seeing, so that wouldn't have helped me any.
It was, and I don't know why anyone takes that thing seriously because it was Anno's middle finger to all of his fans.
Pretty much.
That
You're the ones who
right,
turned his life.
that right there should make it non-canonical.
However, we are not here to talk about the end of Evangelion.
Hey, it's full of
reviewed.
tokusatsu connections. I'm just saying.
True. That being said, this is our first patron exclusive patron requested episode. Ever.
Woo! First!
So, Nate, since you are the patron who requested it, why don't you tell us what movie we're reviewing?
Well, I have good news and bad news for you, fellas.
Ruh-roh.
The good news is we're actually reviewing the best animated Kong musical because, yes, there's more than one. The bad news is Bad Movie Month is coming early.
Oh, snap. You said the best?
There are others.
Sweet niblets, this is going to be terrible.
Don't sweat it. Forget it. Enjoy the show. Working all day, now it's time to unwind. Kick back, relax, take a load off your mind. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. We'll be busting up laughing cause it's party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time.
I'm PTSDing harder than my producer.
And you didn't even watch the movie that one song's from.
Oh, I was like, is that the rapping dog?
That's the rapping dog, but it's from the first Titanic movie we
the other
reviewed.
one. See, they all blend together.
The
now.
one that was
Man,
actually the mockbuster of the mockbuster.
Oh yeah, Mockbuster Inception. But no, yes, we are reviewing The Mighty Kong, which is not showing up as well on the screen as I would like, but it's showing up good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough, but yeah, it's something, and I don't know if it qualifies as a knockoff or legit anymore, because as you guys have been mentioning off and on the last few episodes, the King Kong copyright is convoluted.
Very true.
Yeah. Very much so. It's
what
amazing
I keep
how much
hearing you talking
it's
about.
amazing how much that King Kong copyright has come up in this show.
Agreed.
When this is the only King Kong movie we've reviewed.
True.
But like
We
I
have
said,
not even done the original yet, even though it is on the list to do eventually.
It is.
and I'm guessing I'm going to get a phone call.
Maybe. Probably. Maybe.
And unless we know another kaiju expert.
We're debating how much more time we give our original review of it from the Movie of the Week podcast, because we did review it on that.
Yeah,
but
long time ago.
Seems to fit better here.
But yes, this is technically one of 3 quote-unquote films that are Kong musicals. The other ones' titles of musicals are dubious at best, and they're arguably weirder. And then there is a Broadway musical that got a lot of attention because it had a life-size, just immaculately done Kong animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the music is terrible.
Oh. Like
they
this
put
movie.
all the work into the robot,
of course,
and then forgot they were making a musical because I hear the music sucks.
That sounds familiar.
Wasn't that the case with Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark?
No, the problem with Spider-Man
and the
Turn
fact
Off
that they
the
kept
Dark
killing
is that the
Spider-Man?
music was the problem I heard with Turn Off the Dark is not that the music was bad, is because people kept almost dying.
Yes. Multiple injuries. Well, when you're swinging from, here and there, there's going to be an issue at some point.
Especially if you don't have a Spider-Man who used to be a trapeze artist.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So anyway. Yes. Why don't we go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free review of this?
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Technically my first viewing, but I have seen the original, and this is basically the same story, but done worse.
Oh, far worse.
Far worse. So yeah, that's my spoiler-free review. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. So, again, like Drew, my first viewing, the first couple of minutes, I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. And then the rest of it's crap. But Jodie Benson's in it.
We'll get to
and she
that.
sings once.
Couple of times.
That's right. A couple of times.
But only one of them does she actually go into aerial hot notes.
That is true. She does become a mermaid in one scene.
That whole thing was done as an homage to her being the Little Mermaid.
Of course.
I would like to say that the funniest part of this whole thing was when I was doing the IMDb research for this movie, and I brought up, I obviously didn't have to click Jodie Benson to know what she'd been in, but of course you can see her profile picture, and it's her standing in front of a giant poster of Ariel, and my first thought was, mermaid kaiju.
Didn't they do one recently with what was that? That Kraken movie?
I don't know. I didn't watch it because that looked like garbage.
But it is kind of a kaiju because they're really big.
Well, at least the Kraken's a kaiju.
That is true.
Don't know how she turns out.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I've watched a lot of Ultraman, but I'm pretty sure that they've had fish people in Ultraman.
I'm behind on Ultraman, so I hadn't got there yet. The closest I've gotten was the 2 starfish that were technically only one monster.
That's a lot of fish.
Really?
You're welcome.
Good night.
Hey,
fly me to the moon.
You're welcome.
Well, there was also a monster in both Ultra Q and Ultraman that was basically the Gill Man.
You do raise a good point there. I do remember him in Ultra Q. I don't think I've got to him in Ultraman yet.
Huh?
Bro?
The creature from the Black Lagoon, pretty much.
I'm aware of that. Say what? Bro?
Ultra Q was a show that was on just before Ultraman, and it was more
Think
like
of it like
the
a
X-Files meets
Tokusatsu Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
Ruh-roh.
it was like X-Files meets Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
But with
vampires.
kaiju. With kaiju.
Okay.
Most of the time.
Mostly.
Not
There
every
was one where
episode
they
has
went
a
the
monster.
other way and were turning everybody tiny. Honey, I Shrunk the Camera Woman.
There was also the what I thought was the brilliant final episode that had to do with the subway.
Right.
Eat fresh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's what people come to this show for.
Exactly. So what is your spoiler-free thoughts on this movie, Nate?
Just watch the original movie.
Amen to that.
Freaking men.
This movie has no reason to exist because the 1933 original exists. And if you're going to make a Kong musical, please do better.
We'll get to it, but at the very least...
The original King Kong is one of the few kaiju stories that I think can work as a musical. This is not the way to do it.
Preach it, brother.
Well,
Preach it.
if they'd have put more
That'll
money
preach.
into it, I mean, it's not like they didn't have some of the building blocks there,
True.
but they didn't put any money in it, so...
And I found out that like 3 animation studios worked on this thing.
Mhm.
And
And,
your other problem.
Yeah.
So,
and
you can
I mean,
definitely
thankfully, none of them were communists. One of
you're
them
right, because
was
that
a
one was
Hong-
in South Korea.
yeah, South Korea, and one was in Hong Kong. So that one, yeah, maybe a little dubious, but
Well, except this movie was 95? Am I remember correctly?
98.
98. So
It
most
was
of it could have
98,
been
but they
made before
started-
Hong Kong went back to China.
97, but they started making it in 97.
Ah, that makes
Close enough. It's still British.
Ugh.
Technically, this is a British film.
But
It's British? That makes
Hong
sense.
Kong at the time was owned by Britain.
That's
yeah.
true.
But the studio that was in Hong Kong that worked on it was founded in the mid 80s by Run Shaw.
Oh, one of the Shaw brothers.
One of the Shaw brothers, which means Kong now has connections to the Shaw brothers, who also made a knockoff King Kong movie in the late 70s. Go listen to my recent episode of the Film Vault about that. It's Mighty
I
Pinky
have.
Man.
So Shaw, did he own a boat and want to kill a shark?
No.
Darn. I'm here all night, people.
Though I'm kind of surprised the Shaw brothers didn't make a Jaws knockoff
Nom 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 nom.
that I know
Everybody
of.
else
nom,
did.
nom, nom, nom.
Yeah. Anyways, are we ready to jump into the spoiler-filled section of this?
Yes.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film The Mighty Kong. Not to mention every other King Kong movie ever made. Listener discretion is advised. I'm sorry, but like half the movies are the King Kong movies are the same story.
Because the original movie is nigh perfect.
I agree with this.
That is true.
Because every other sequel stinks.
Unless we're talking about Jackson's version. Be like,
That's a good movie.
that's a good
That's a
movie.
remake.
Scared the crap out of me when I watched it.
It's
As
the
it
only
should,
one
but
that's
that's a
actually based
remake.
off the script.
Yes. Big spiders.
I would argue, though, that the MonsterVerse has broken Kong out of the rut he's been in.
Oh yeah, because this is Godzilla X Kong is his fourth film. Or third film, actually,
The
in this
third
franchise.
film in the MonsterVerse, and I am 110% behind Kong the Barbarian.
And let's face it, he actually showed up on a TV show, too, for 5
A
seconds.
couple of them.
Mm.
Well,
Because he was
MonsterVerse Kong did.
He
That's
was
what
at
you're
the end
talking
of
about.
He was at the end of Monarch, is what I was trying to say.
Actually, now I just realized there are 3 animated Kong series.
Let's not and say we did.
Yes. Let's talk about this movie instead.
There was a reason when we were originally looking at a King Kong thing for the show 4 years ago, or when I was.
Yeah.
I saw what was available and said, nope. Yeah, this movie might be one of those reasons. Actually, it probably was. Anyway, this film was directed by Art Scott. This is his only directing credit as a pure director. However, he was an animation director for many Saturday morning 90s era Saturday morning television shows, including one I know is going to be Jacob's favorite, the Tom and Jerry Kids Show.
Okay. That was a fun show. It wasn't my favorite.
Sarcastic.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If it was pup named Scooby-Doo, that would have been accurate.
That's true.
But
now if it was like Muppet Babies, I might have a problem. Now, great, I watched it again because I hated that
doesn't
show.
like Muppet Babies.
I don't like Muppet Babies.
I've gotten him to enjoy the rest of the Muppets. But he doesn't like Muppet Babies.
That's great. Like, I had a very different viewpoint as a kid when I watched Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies gives him PTSD.
Kind of.
Jacob, who hurt you?
I don't know. Who are you?
I'm going with Skeeter.
No, absolutely not.
Actually, I was thinking it was Miss Piggy because she just abuses everybody.
That's true. Actually, yeah.
That's it. I'm out.
In fact, I saw
he rage quit. All right, Drew.
I saw a meme earlier today where Miss Piggy was playing. Oh shoot, what's her name in Lord of the Rings? The one that kills the Witch King.
Oh, Éowyn.
Éowyn. I saw one where she was in that role saying, "I am no man." Hi-ya!
I need a Muppets Lord of the Rings parody now. Lord of the Muppets. Muppet of the Rings, something.
Henson Company, do something.
I can see Kermit as Frodo.
Yes.
Yeah, he'd have to be Aragorn.
And Fozzie would be Samwise.
There you go.
Pippin would be Gonzo. Or would that be Mary? Mary would be probably better for Gonzo. Anyway.
I was to say, before we start casting that.
It was written by William J. Keenan and based, of course, on King Kong, written by Marion C. Cooper, James Ashman Moore Creelman, Ruth Rose, and Edgar Wallace.
Fun fact, this is not the first time Keenan has worked on King Kong.
Okay.
He didn't necessarily, quote unquote, write it, but he did the English dialogue for the U.S. version of King Kong Escapes in the 60s, the Toho film.
The sequel to Godzilla versus King Kong versus Godzilla. Ish.
But it was originally written by the Takashi Kimura, and then because they had English-speaking actors in it, Keenan worked on it and basically kind of like translated the lines from the Japanese,
right?
Rewrote them a little bit so that, so like I said, not the first time he's worked on King Kong. And if you watch that version of the movie, he's the only credited screenwriter, which is weird.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
No offense to William Keenan, but at least credit the original writer.
Sure.
Right. It's weird.
Anyway, getting into the cast. We've got Dudley Moore in his final role ever as C.B. Denham and the voice of King Kong.
Supposedly.
Uncredited. That's all I could see.
Yeah, that's it, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. And you'll notice that it's CB and not Carl.
Tell
There's
that to
a reason for
IMDb.
that.
IMDb still listed as Carl. I had to change it manually to CB.
It's because IMDb is wrong, but there are reasons.
IMDb is all the time wrong.
Yeah, but there are reasons why he is CB.
Yes. He was in the 1978 film The Hound of the Baskervilles. Oh. He was Doc Watson.
Duck Watson.
Dr. Watson. I said Doc for some reason.
That's
not Duck. Now I want a Sherlock Holmes Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny is Sherlock. Daffy Duck is Dr. Watson.
Oh, that,
or as I've just said, Dr. Watson.
Dr. Watson.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I've got a drawing in my head. This is going to be wonderful.
Jodie Benson played Anne Darrow. And of course, she is Ariel in The Little Mermaid.
And has played Ariel in everything.
Yes.
She was also Barbie in Toy Story.
Yes,
Yes.
she was. And she played Thumbelina in Thumbelina.
So this is the second bad Jodie Benson film we've watched.
Not that bad. Thumbelina wasn't terrible. This is just a
We
torrential.
hated Thumbelina, or did you forget?
Apparently, I forgot. We reviewed quite a few movies between then and now.
Admittedly, yes.
Yes,
And
agreed.
a lot worse films.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Looking at you, tentacles.
Actually, we don't talk about Leo. No.
whoa.
Okay.
Come on.
Randy-
Like, you know Tentacles is in the top 10.
I am saving
Oh, gosh.
my thoughts until after we force ourselves to watch the sequel.
Oh, Godzilla, help me.
Randy Hamilton was the voice of Jack Driscoll, and he played Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins.
She did.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Interesting.
Oh.
William Sage played Roscoe, and he was in the video game that I had to look up called Hidden Expedition,
Huh.
which I had never heard of before. This is his big role. This is the thing he's done the most of. He played a character named Explorer Sam. I looked up what this was because I'd never heard of it before.
Okay.
It's one, you know, those cheap games you used to see at Walmart in the PC section that that old grandmas buy that are those hidden picture games.
Yeah.
This is one of those series. He's in like 8 of them.
Oh my gosh.
3 of them are the remastered versions.
Wow.
So apparently the first couple must not have been any good, and they remade them, but they hired him since then. So
Yeah, because whenever I think, crow, you just said the name and it went go zing right over my head just a second ago. Roscoe. When you said Roscoe, I was like, wait, from Jack Reacher?
no,
Darn it!
No,
That's
that-
a far better book and TV series.
it's a far better Roscoe, I bet.
You're
I'm
not kidding.
I'm not even
You are
saying it.
not kidding,
I've
brother.
not even seen it. I'll
Oh
guarantee you
my
he's a far better
gosh!
Roscoe.
Yes, like go watch Reacher on Amazon Prime. Yes, or Amazon
It is Prime.
Video. It's so good. Yes, season 2.
Lastly, Jason Gray Stanford was the voice of Ricky. I believe that's the name of the kid.
Yeah, with the monkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the monkey.
Have
The
y'all seen
Kenny.
the,
Monkey looks
Have y'all seen the television show Monk?
a little.
A little bit, yeah.
Do you remember Stottlemeyer's sidekick, Randy Disher?
Vaguely.
That's this guy.
Oh. Does he have
He's
a
much better in Monk.
Oh, okay. He does have a weird, like, awkward glance at every character whenever he talks to them.
No, but he does fall in love with both of Monk's assistants. And is a little bit awkward around people.
Oh, okay, that fits perfectly.
So it kind of fits, actually.
Kind of fits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's one guy in here. Now, he just did additional voices. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention him.
I didn't do the additional voices people in this one.
Well, there's one that you guys would know.
Who would that be?
Ian James Corlett.
Okay.
He was the original dub voice of Goku.
Oh, whoa.
In the Ocean dub?
Ocean?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I say,
And
because I know he wasn't.
He was in Beast Wars.
I know he wasn't
Wow.
quote unquote
He was Cheetor.
Goku in the U.S. in the Harmony Gold dub, because there he was named Zero and voiced by Barbara Goodwin,
Oh,
Rita Repulsa.
wow.
That's right.
That's weird.
That
That
is
is weird.
That was
That-
weird.
That's the big green dub. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up old dubs. It's like weird.
I've got
Yeah.
such a headache.
So, Kingdom Hearts connections.
I used to room with her brother. Let's not talk about that.
Yes, let's not. Definitely don't want him showing up.
No.
Oh, no.
So, Kingdom Hearts connections. Guess how many we have?
At least one.
That is the only one.
Yes.
And trust me, I take that back. There's technically 2 others if you count music rights.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
The Sherman Brothers.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, we should mention that.
Yeah.
Because the
Because
Sherman
if we
Brothers did the music for this.
Yes, they did.
It is not their best work.
The prolific songwriters for Disney who have done such movies as Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang,
Yeah.
among others. Like, these guys are a big deal. They've won.
Yeah, they are.
They are a very big
They've
deal.
won awards.
And that's why it says like they had the building blocks in this movie for a good Kong musical and didn't use them properly.
Yeah, I'm
Because
like,
they
I'm
didn't
looking
give them
at,
money.
I'm trying to look
At
it up.
all.
They're like, they've won. They just to show you what kind of a pedigree, in case people listening don't know who these guys are. They have won 2 Academy Awards, 3 Grammys. They have been nominated for the Laurence Olivier Award, a BAFTA Award, and 5 Golden Globes. And they have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and they have a national medal. They got a National Medal of the Arts in 2008. And their credits include The Parent Trap, the original Parent Trap, Mary Poppins, like I said, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, like I said, Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah.
The Sword and the Stone, The Jungle Book, the original, although they didn't write The Bare Necessities, but they did the rest of it.
Right.
Charlotte's Web, The Aristocats, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And
Well, the opening song for it, because some of those are redone shorts.
Right.
But yeah.
they also wrote It's a Small World After All, which, according to Time Magazine, is the most performed song ever of all time.
Yes.
That's because they play it every 5 seconds at Walt Disney World and Walt Disneyland and probably every other Disney park.
Every place.
I'm just saying, these guys are a big deal.
They are.
And it's not that long a song.
And they got these guys to do this movie? It must be a
We'll
musical?
get to it.
They must not. A, they couldn't have paid him much, and B, they must have had to pay a bill off
Probably.
that month.
that
Because I guarantee you,
desperate point is an artist.
I guarantee you, they did not put a lot of work into this.
It's like, oh, got this Kong thing. Okay, let's write
hey,
this. Ship it
need
off.
I remind you, still the best Kong musical.
That's because it's the Sherman Brothers, and they probably actually gave more of a care than the other people making their cheap money grabs.
True.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Because I haven't tortured myself like you have.
We'll get to it. Anyway.
We'll get there when we get there.
So, Jacob, that's
Yes.
what do we have in info and stuff?
Yes. Not a whole lot, but we'll get through.
Oh,
All
I will probably be able to add to it because I've done a little bonus episode on this, but I still wanted to help you guys please the algorithm gods and do something timely.
Which is
with
why I'm going to try and
GXK.
get this edited like within the next 2 days.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Even if I don't have art from Jacob yet.
I'd be like, well,
I know you're busy.
yeah, I'm moving you next week. So
Which is too bad because I kind of want to see Jacob's take on this design of Kong. I will be bringing that up in my dislikes.
I don't want to speak for Jacob, honestly.
Okay.
But I have suspect he will eventually make artwork and it will go up. It will have something also to do with Spy Family.
Wait. I got it.
Okay.
Kong holding Anya.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
That's what you do, right?
That sounds like,
I like this idea better than Anya Angel last week.
it was the best thing I could think of.
It was one of those things I looked at it and
I
saw.
know what you do is you have Kong holding Anya in a little voice bubble that says, "So cool!"
Yeah, yes.
I'm sorry, I saw the Japanese version of Spy Family first, so Waku Waku sounds better to me.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
It's like, Daddy, where are you? This is a terrible movie. All right, so
and you can just see yours leg coming in from the side,
Yes!
ready to roundhouse kick.
yes, kick the stupid monkey.
Anyway,
All right, so info and stuff. IMDb has a 3.9 out of 10. Not surprising.
it's still the highest one out of all the musicals.
Oh my
wait,
gosh.
Actually, no.
Hmm?
But they're all really close together.
All right, so
I'm sure it comes down to a per point average, and none of them are
Probably.
that different.
Probably.
Some weirdo on one of the other ones said, I like this movie better than the others.
Were they smoking
I mean,
something?
there are weird people who like Star Trek 5, so.
That is true.
Still
That
not
is
the worst Star Trek movie.
Oh, there's some debate.
Yeah, but
But not tonight.
Yeah, we're not here tonight. Maybe after credits, whatever. But
Before we record, before Nathan leaves and me and Jacob talk X-Men.
probably. But okay, Rotten Tomatoes. Can anybody guess what the score was on Rotten Tomatoes without looking?
0.5.
No. Nate?
Does it have enough reviews?
It has a number. Just take a guess.
12.
No, 35%.
35?
35%.
Because they have like 10 reviews and 3 people were nice?
Probably.
Probably, you never know.
Three
were
people who had
"Hey,
never
this is not
reviewed a
bad
film
movie."
before. 3 people who knew nothing about animation and think cartoons are for kids.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, Jodie Benson. Oh, it's a big stupid monkey.
That'll work. I saw 5 seconds of this. I think my kids would love it.
Yeah.
I
All
would
right,
like to. That's the other thing. You need to tell me how many reviews there are so I can understand
I can't
the
find them.
calculation. They should be able to. The IMDb should tell you how many reviews they have.
Hang on. Keep talking. I will
Okay,
research.
I will
keep
be
going,
like,
keep going.
thank
Well,
you. Like,
More
jerking the
info and
reviews
stuff
while
while
I
he
talk.
looks up the numbers.
All right, production was Landa Productions.
The only movie they made.
Yeah.
The only movie they made, yeah. So I'm probably gonna butcher this name, so I apologize. Had known Sin Corporation Japanese Productions.
Okay.
No, that's not Japanese.
No, I said did I say Chinese? I'm sorry. It was anime
No,
anime production.
you said Japanese.
I'd
It's
be
not
like, my
Japanese
mistake.
studio.
My mistake. Be like, I read it and somehow it said Japanese when it says animation production.
No.
My mistake.
Here, let me help you out.
First off.
The what?
First off. Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
For the tomatometer, or however you say that, the one that's
Tomatometer,
actually
I don't know.
real critic reviews, there is no rating because it has one review. The audience score is 38%.
Okay,
with
that's what I
fewer
thought.
than 50 ratings.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I am looking at the
okay.
one review now. He gave it a 60 out of 100.
Generous.
Yeah, he's very generous.
Very generous with this film. Oh my
anyway,
god.
But he
let me-
reviewed
let-
it January 1st, 2000.
Oh.
Which tells me this must have been the review when it came out, and that's just as far back as Rotten Tomatoes' database goes.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, let me help you out a little bit here, Jacob, because
Appreciate it.
I have all the animation studios. There are 3 of them.
Okay. I only got 2 of them. So what's the third?
Okay, so it's Hanshin Corporation.
Hanshin. Thank you.
Hanshin Corporation, founded by Peter Choi or Shinmuk Choi. And they have worked on such animation classics as Biker Mice from Mars, Highlander the series, and Heavy Metal 2000.
Oh. I like Biker Mice from Mars.
And that's the Chinese one.
Nice.
And then, well, one of the Chinese ones.
Gotcha.
No, wait. No. Take it back. That's the Korean one. I'm screwing it up already. All right. Then the Chinese one that was founded by Run Shaw is Jade Animation. The current, they have worked on such things as American Dragon Jake Long,
That's a good
2
show.
episodes of Batman the Animated Series, Street Sharks,
Oh, there
and
you go.
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, but they haven't made anything since 2009.
Okay.
They probably got
And
bought
then-
out by somebody.
Probably.
Yeah. No, they still exist as themselves. They just haven't done anything. And then the last studio to work on this was, at the time, they were called Rainbow Animation Group, but they're now called Galaxy Digimation. They are based in Glendale, California, but their South Korea branch worked on this one. They also have
Okay.
branches in China and the Philippines, and their credits include such prestigious shows as Iron Man the Animated Series, but only season 1, which explains a lot.
Yeah.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? The
cartoon, not the game show.
cartoon version, Macross 7, and The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog,
Ooh.
aka
Whoa. Adventures
AKA
of Sonic the
bad
Hedgehog?
one.
Did you say
AKA
Adventures
the
of
bad
Sonic?
one.
Yeah, it's like that's the not good one.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the weekday show
Yes.
that's trying to be Looney Tunes.
Yes.
That's no good, man. No
It
good.
is no good.
yeah.
It's not Saturday morning, so
Oh my gosh, you were not kidding. Oh my gosh.
entirely different show.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
There's
you
I
very much.
also I think this is just a different name for another studio, but there's also Anaram Animation in one of my sources.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, you deep dive this one.
This is me we're talking about here.
Very true. Very true. This is the Nate.
He was probably concerned when we said we're still working on our notes before the show.
I've been
No,
working on
it's
this for a
because
month, people.
it's because I did a bonus episode on it a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, fair.
I will say I have not listened to that bonus episode yet because I knew we were recording and I did not want to color my thoughts.
Nice.
I understand.
All right. So continue. Thank you, Nate, for those additional bonus info and stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. So distributed by Warner Brothers.
On
what
video.
was there another
Originally,
was there another
okay. Okay. It, believe it or not, according to one of my sources, it actually had a limited theatrical run
Yes.
on May 29th, 1998,
Mhm.
because of a studio called Legacy Releasing, which got folded into Warner Brothers.
Mhm.
And
Oh
then
my.
Warner Brothers released it on VHS June 16th. So about 2.5 weeks later,
Okay.
1998, as part of their 75th anniversary promotion.
That's
But
right.
you can now get it on manufacturer on demand DVD, like I did,
Mm-hmm.
from Tri-Coast Entertainment.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can,
Nice.
I'll let you get to the rest of it.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. You're good. Be like, literally, it's like you said, be like release date for theaters was June 16th, 1998 originally, and its release date streaming was August 14th, 2018, and that runtime is an hour and 25 minutes. Anything else?
Wait. What? There's no way it's that long.
There's no way it's an hour and a half.
That's what it
It's
said.
71.
Okay,
I don't know
70.
where you got that information, but it's
IMDb
on a
is
throne
an
of
hour and
lies.
11 minutes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I got this from I think you got it from IMDb. I think I could be wrong. No, it was
IMDb
another
is
site.
full of
No,
lies.
they could be the information I got could be wrong.
The
yeah.
internet is wrong.
The
No,
internet
it's
is
always
wrong.
right. It's truthful and honest. What are you talking about?
No. But it's funny that it got released on streaming in 2018 because that MOD DVD, that sounds like a band, the mod DVD was in 2019.
Right.
So if you get it on
If-
DVD now, it has not a thing from Warner Brothers on it.
Okay.
Which is hilarious because I think you guys were talking about that stuff in a previous episode and about how Warner Brothers didn't do anything with King Kong until
No.
the Monsterverse. Not true. They
I did
technically
not say
released this
that.
first.
I did not say that because I mentioned that Warner Brothers currently distributes the original King Kong on Blu-ray and DVD, and they didn't outside of this film they didn't make anything till the Monsterverse, and even that's kind of dubious since it's more legendary than Warner Brothers
legendary.
anyway.
They're just distributing it.
Yeah, but the other bit of I'll save that for trivia because we got trivia to go through.
Yeah, we got trivia
we got
coming
trivia.
up, which I don't have a lot of trivia. So
I came over prepared. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Be like, it's perfect.
This
Be
is
like,
why we like you.
That's why, like, you come in, it's just like, oh my gosh, info loaded. It is amazing. But that's all I have for info and stuff. And thank you, Nathan Marchand, for the additional assistance.
you missed one tiny thing.
Well,
Did-
where can you stream this?
You did not mention where it's streamable, and it's on
Oh,
Tubi.
it's on Tubi. That's right. It's on Tubi.
Tubi and Prime.
Tubi and Prime.
I watched it on Tubi because there it was free and it wouldn't show up in my watch history.
Yeah. I don't want any record of anybody seeing, like, wait, he watched this film? What?
Tubi, delete this from my algorithm.
Let me rephrase. It will not show up in the watch history of anyone I share my Amazon account with.
Oh,
One other person.
oh my gosh.
Which are my parents, by
That's
the
so
way.
funny. Ever since they're in the chat.
Well, I'm sure they're gone by now.
Probably, but you never know.
Oh no,
They
so
were.
trivia.
They were.
Yeah, so true. I will tell you, the first place I saw this was not by purchasing the DVD. The first place I saw this was on Prime, and I was not prepared.
You were not prepared.
I was
You are not prepared.
That would have been fun to watch.
I took a picture of one of my reactions.
Really?
Nice.
Oh, that'd be priceless.
Oh, the faces I was making.
I'm not surprised.
Well, on that note,
Yes.
why don't we talk about what the summary for this film,
Yes.
which is just basically go watch the original King Kong. It's better.
You're not kidding, people.
That's
Go
actually
over,
what
find
I
it, watch
did.
it.
That's actually what I said when I did that bonus episode. I just like, oh, what happens in this movie? Just it's the original 1933 movie. That's
Yeah,
all
it's
you need to
rip
know.
off.
Pretty much. But here's the actual summary according to Wikipedia. Because that's where I steal all my summaries from. And Darrow, a down-on-her-luck actress looking for work, meets film director C.B. Denham, who offers her a job in a new film. They board the Venture to leave for the film shoot. The monkey that lives on board causes trouble throughout the trip.
Wait, halt.
Chip.
That's the wrong name of the ship.
That is the wrong name of the ship.
It is not the Venture.
It is
That's
not the
what
Venture.
it is in the
It is the
original
Java
movie.
Queen.
Yeah, Java
it is
Queen.
the Java Queen, and there's a
Java,
reason
Java.
for that. Two of them, actually.
Wikipedia, you have failed me for the last time, yet I'll still use you.
Because we all know
I need to go. I need to go edit that now.
They arrive on the island, and after a run-in with the natives, Anne will then sacrifice to the giant gorilla Kong, he wasn't King Kong, Kong, who makes off with her into the jungle. Together, they fight a Tyrannosaurus, a Pterodactylus, that's how it's written on here, and a Gigantophus.
What?
So they're not Power Rangers.
Wait, no, those sound like
Made-up dinosaurs.
They
no,
do.
those sound like not family-friendly toys.
Anyway, the film then follows Kong's rampage of New York City. Kong takes Anne up to the top of the Empire State Building. The biplanes come and attack Kong with guns, but miss most of the time because this is a kid's show.
And apparently they're stormtroopers.
When all the planes have been knocked down, the army sends two blimps with a net in between to catch Kong. That's new. They catch him successfully. Kong tries to get out of the net, but the net rips and Kong reaches for Anne. He falls from the net and plummets to the streets of New York. However, unlike every other version of King Kong, he survives.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dun, dun.
You know what? I'm gonna go edit my likes and dislikes for that.
So, trivia for this film. This is Dudley Moore's last film he ever did. He died after this.
Dag damn it! I need. I'm looking. I need an extra dislike. I'm sorry.
Though the film is mostly based on the original 1930s King Kong film, or at least its novelization, there is one direct reference to the 1976 remake, where Kong takes Anne to a waterfall to wash off some mud and then blows her dry with his breath.
Okay. The fact that they're referencing that is incredibly weird.
Yeah.
Because that whole 76 remake is kind of gross in the most 70s way possible.
Of course.
And the fact that they're referencing it here is just why? It's just weird. It is so weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's the way they actually use the novelization, because the novelization is technically in public domain. So that's why they didn't have to pay any licensing fees. And it's also why the ship is not called the Venture. It's why it's called the Java Queen, and why Denham is CB and not Carl.
And why it's Kong and not King Kong.
True.
Yeah, if you want to get technical.
Well, I mean, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
he's the king of the jungle, isn't he?
Yeah, but
When Leo's not around.
yeah, apparently.
We don't talk about that stupid line.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Anyway,
whoa, whoa.
it's like I said, it's weird. The Wikipedia actually has an entry for the King Kong franchise, and if this is a franchise, this is the most disjointed franchise ever.
Yes.
Because half of what it considers to be part of the quote-unquote franchise is arguably unofficial. And
Right.
I would throw this one into that list because I'm not sure it qualifies.
Continuing,
Yes.
despite the poster showing Kong as brown, he has gray skin and black fur in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And as I said before, unlike the original movie, Kong actually survives this fall for some reason.
It's a kids movie. You got to make the big
you
monkey survive for some
No,
reason.
you don't.
Oh, I agree, but it's just like, huh?
Give the children childhood trauma; they will survive.
It'll make
Also,
them stronger.
If I could survive pink elephants on parade, they can survive this.
if you can survive Don Bluth movies,
Oh,
Good night, yes.
wow! You're not kidding. Wow. Secretive
because
Nim.
Don Bluth's philosophy was you can get as dark as you want with kids as long as there's a happy ending.
That is true. Lamp before time, anybody?
Also, if you haven't
Shoot, I'm
reviewed
thinking
Titan-
Rockadoodle.
That is. Oh my gosh! You're not kidding.
That kid
also,
died.
if you guys,
He did.
also, if you guys haven't, if you haven't reviewed Titan AE yet, Jimmy and I volunteer as tribute.
It is on the list.
It is
at
on
some
the
point.
list.
It's just one that we haven't done yet.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, just to add to the trivia a little bit, another way that they got around it is Jack runs into a Triceratops instead of a Stegosaurus.
Makes sense. It's still a dino.
I wonder if that's what the summary called a Gigantophis.
Probably because they
Yeah,
don't know what
maybe.
they're talking about.
Crazy thing is, this is a link. I want to see what this is.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
click the link.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's the
also,
Wikipedia.
Oh knows.
also, it is arguable that this is not the first American film where Kong survives because the '76 remake had an awful, awful sequel that retconned his death.
Oh. That
Because
sounds like most
apparent-
horror films nowadays.
Because apparently a heart transplant cures falling off a building.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Oh my!
I
King
heard about that.
Kong
No, I
lives.
saw that. I was like, what the crap is this?
King
I
Kong
have
was
that movie, and I haven't
also,
gotten around to watching it yet.
I didn't.
I saw that when I was a kid. I was like, what the crap is this?
I mostly
Yeah.
bought it because I was completing my collection. I'm still only a couple
Ah.
movies short of completing my
Yeah.
kaiju collection.
However,
Especially
It
now
was
that
a
I own
Jap-
all the Gamera films.
yeah. However, it was a Japanese film where Kong became. That was the first Kong film where he survives because King Kong versus Godzilla, he didn't die. Actually, in
He
neither
won.
one of the in neither one of the Japanese films did Kong die.
So apparently, a Gigantophis is according to Wikipedia, an extinct genus represented by its sole member, which is a giant snake.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Also,
So
you'll
ignore what we said
notice.
earlier.
Also, you'll notice that the ship's captain is only ever called the captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not
When-
Captain Englehorn. And again, they're trying another way to get around it.
Yeah.
And
I hate
Java
snakes,
Queen,
Chuck. I hate them.
yeah, and Java Queen is a reference to the King Kong show from the '60s, which was technically an anime
Fair.
because it was made by Toei. It was a co-production with Toei and
Co-production,
back.
I'll count that as a anime because
Yeah.
the rules on what actually is and isn't an anime is stupid.
yeah,
True.
but like I said, it was animated by Toei, but it was commissioned by Rankin Bass.
So like Thundercats.
Oh,
Except Toei didn't make Thundercats.
that is true.
It was a Japanese company that animated it though.
True.
It was the one that eventually became, dang it, the Ghibli. Yep, Forerunner.
One of
Film.
them.
And I think that's all the extra
Wait, was-
trivia I can give you guys. At least that's interesting.
The following is a non-live correction for Nate. Thundercats was not animated by a studio that would become Studio Ghibli. The animation for the episodes was provided by the Japanese studio Pacific Animation Corporation, with Masaki Izuka as production manager. The studio was acquired in 1989 to form Walt Disney Animation Japan.
So, guess it's time to start our likes for this film.
If we have
This will be a short section.
Yeah. Very short.
Nathan, you're the one torturing us. You go first.
Well, I would tell you, if this movie has a strength, it's this: the cast.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
could see that.
The cast, because on paper, even though I don't think this movie needed to exist, if you're going to do an animated version of the 1933 King Kong, and it's the mid to late 90s, Jodie Benson is the route to go.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
That is the route to go. She is honestly if you're going to watch this movie, she's the reason to watch it.
I can agree with that.
Agreed.
Because as much as I have issues with the script, Jodie is still good. She can still sing those mediocre songs well, and she gives a good performance as Anne. In fact, her performance is too good for this animation.
Agreed.
And even though I think Dudley Moore is a little too British to be Carl Denham, he does fine. Although every time I hear him, especially when I hear him sing, because he was a singer and a musician as well.
Really?
Yeah, he did a lot of different. He was a comedian, a musician. He was the whole package.
He's one of those names you always hear around everything, but
that's right.
But there's not a specific role I associate with him.
Yeah,
so.
right, because he just did so much stuff. But when I hear him sing, especially, I kept thinking to myself, you know who he kind of sounds like? Who I honestly think probably would have been a better choice for this for Carl Denham, because he's actually American. Mark Hamill.
Yeah, you hear that.
Mark Hamill
actually does sing.
Yeah. So I think he would have been great.
Too.
Yeah.
Very true.
Everybody else, they're
I heard him on the Muppet Show.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think there's anybody in this movie who gives a bad performance. The issues lie elsewhere with it.
Yeah.
Which is more than I could say about fucking tentacles.
We'll get there when we get there. And it's what, 6 months? So
we trauma bonded over that.
I'm gonna jump off of Nate's and go. Yeah, the cast is probably the best thing about this. Given what they have to work with, they actually do a pretty decent job with this. But yeah, the acting for what they have is fairly well.
Yeah,
we'll get to the rest of the problems with this.
Agreed. My first is is
no like
like. That's what I said.
You said dislike.
Sorry.
I have you on
apparently
record.
I'm so enthralled to get to dislike this film. I'm skipping ahead.
I would say, hey, I was just thinking that you were just less dyslexic. I'm sorry.
I am dyslexic.
Oh, that was a joke. I didn't know.
I am very dyslexic.
Oh,
which that happens a lot, dude. It's no worries, dude.
Explains so much. Anyway.
Hey, that's it. Never mind.
Wow, I am up to 2 Jacob rage quit fake outs. How many did I get?
That's a record. I've only gotten one of those ever.
I'm trying to figure out how many more can I get. I'm going to go for 5.
Yeah, you'll hear the door slam and stomp off. Right.
Also, I'm noting he's up to 2 veins.
Don't start.
Anyway, your first like.
My first is encompassing what you guys have already talked about, the voice actors. Definitely Jodie Benson. She is completely, oh my gosh. There again, be like, you hear anything Jodie Benson normally does, and be like, she does incredible. She does incredible in this, even though the script and everything else around it is garbage. She does a good job. The rest of the characters, voice actors, do a very good job in this movie, and I appreciate that for what it is. That is my first dislike. Or sorry, I want to get the dislikes very badly, but my first
We'll get there when we get there. Nate,
Agreed.
what's your second like?
If he has one.
I do, actually. My other likes are not all that impressive, but there is one unique thing that, because I've seen all of the Kong movies, this does have one unique thing to it. Kong fights Zeppelins.
Yeah, that is cool.
I
agree.
have never seen him fight Zeppelins anywhere else. I've seen him fight tanks. I have seen him fight tanks. He does so in King Kong Lives.
He's fought helicopters.
He's fought helicopters a couple of times.
Biplanes.
He's fought Godzilla a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, but Zeppelins, that's new. and I give them credit.
I still think that should have blown up. Those should have blown up faster.
Probably. Kong versus the Hindenburg would
That'd be a very short
end
film.
well. It'd be a very short film. But
That almost be as short as Bambi meets Godzilla.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, this is so lightning.
King Kong
It's
versus
not even funny.
Hindenburg. Yeah, and the fact that it's two Zeppelins flying in, trying to catch him with a net. I mean, it's like for a moment, the movie decided to go crazy, and I kind of like it for that moment of insanity.
Fair enough.
True. What is your second like, Drew?
Because the Sherman Brothers did write the music in this, while the music is not great,
No.
it is a lot better than it has a right to be, considering the writing it's having to work with.
True.
And I'm thinking more in the instrumentation than the lyrics. Because I swear they must not have touched the lyrics. That must have been whoever the writer was on this thing.
Eden.
They wrote the melody.
I swear they must have done the instrumentation and not the lyrics, because the instrumentation is for the most part fine.
Yeah. Lyrics
but
are like,
the
what
lyrics is like, these are not singable songs.
No.
Which does not Sherman Brothers in the slightest, but
to be fair, I guarantee there's probably a few kids who watched this movie as a kid, absolutely loved it, because some of the reviews said they absolutely loved it as a kid, and probably sang the songs as children. Now, as an adult, feel like that is a regret.
I really do feel sorry for those kids. Jacob, what's your second like?
My second like? This is gonna be a little bit of a weird one, but like when I first turned this one on Tubi, it's like it comes up. It's be like you get this what I assumed was really good animation. I was like, wow, okay. Be like I'm sitting straight in my chair. It's like, wow, okay, this is impressive. Be like you get the nice sweeping shot of the native people, and they're offering their sacrifice to Kong, and Kong pops out of
the prologue in this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, the prologue is amazing.
I'm curious where they normally get their supply of white women, because that was not an Islander.
No,
it's supposed to be.
It's not
supposed to be.
She looks like she just walked off to L.A. and got tore up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Get your head out of the gun.
Okay.
Tore up in the... Never mind.
Anyway, I would just like to point out that it's not just the natives who are a little bit confused, because Denham seems to think he can pass Anne, the whitest blonde woman ever, off as a Polynesian princess. And I'm thinking, I'm like, Denham, even by early 30s standards, I don't think you can get away with that.
No.
So
we will get more to this and dislikes, but
yes. But I'm going to finish mine real fast, and then we can get into our third likes. I keep saying one of the dislikes, but we're still in the likes. So let's get to my second like. Yeah. I'm having a hard time not saying dislikes for some reason, but I'm keeping it together. All right. So, like the prologue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, prologue. Thank you. I was going to say epilogue. It's prologue.
No, it's prologue. Epilogue at the end.
Yes, I'm aware of this, people. But be like, I really enjoyed the animation. How it was we had this nice camera movement of, and Kong, comes out of the forest. I thought it was like, wow. Be like, it looks like the original, but animated. Not animated incredibly well, but it was done very well. So the prologue I thought was very well done, and then we get into the movie itself.
I hope someone brings up the animation in their dislikes, because I have opinions. Narrowing my dislikes down to 3, not as hard as the last time I was on, but still a challenge. Anyway.
So Nate, what's you? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to be like, the dislikes are like, like human neighbors. We all have them. There going to be a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nathan, what's your third like?
Kind of going off of a bit of what you said, Drew, even though there's a little bit of an asterisk. I do think the music is okay. Unfortunately, I think there are only 2 songs in this that are all that good. One is, and I don't even remember the name of it, but it's at the end when you have all of when Kong has been taken to New York and you've got all of the dancing girls on stage,
Mhm.
basically going out there and singing a song about Kong before they bring him out and getting dangerously close to underboobage. I see what
Yeah.
you did there,
Yes.
animators.
Yes.
That's very close. I see what you want, but you can't. What do you does okay? Yeah. No, honestly, the best song in the movie is, and it's the only one whose title I remember is, is it
You thought you remembered it.
well, I want to make sure I remember part of it. I just want to make sure I get it exactly correct because I'm that kind of a guy. Was it Ali of Papali?
Ah,
Oh, yeah,
Dolly
yeah.
of Papali.
yes.
Dolly
That
of
was decent.
Papali, which is, it really
That's probably the
showcases-
one the Sherman Brothers worked the most on.
Probably.
because it really showcases Judy Benson.
Mm.
It's a big solo for Anne. It's for the weird Polynesian princess thing, and she's
Mhm.
running around with a bunch of semi-anthropomorphic animals, and she's dressed like a hula girl, and
Mhm.
it jumps into the water at one point, and I'm like, okay, you're pouring it on a little thick, guys. And I think it's meant to actually be a fantasy, obviously, because they're not actually filming a movie or anything.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best showcase of both Jodie Benson and the Sherman Brothers talent. Is it anywhere close to their best work? No. But
This doesn't
for
even
this
crack
movie, it's the centerpiece.
it doesn't even crack like the upper half.
Yeah.
It barely budges, let's say that.
It's not 0, but it's not much higher than that.
Yeah. So
You
like I
gotta
said,
run to somebody to help you open the can first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's just say one of my dislikes is related to the music. That's why this has an asterisk.
So
Chitty Kong Kong.
Thank you for that one, PaulJPowers.com. Also, happy birthday.
Birthday.
So, my third like for this film, believe it or not, I actually like that feels like it has the same plot of King Kong. This is a fairly there's differences, obviously, mostly for copyright reasons.
Right.
But it's a fairly faithful adaptation that they managed to squeeze into, an hour and 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how long the original is, but...
Oh, it's 100 minutes. I have opinions.
Okay.
Ah.
And I know some of what they would have cut out would have been most of the stop motion dinosaur fights. Because they
Again,
get so
I
precious
have
little
opinions.
dinosaur fighting in this. But, yeah, I appreciate that it hit all the plot points, and had it been good, it might have actually been decent. So, yeah, that's a bit of a backhanded like, but I don't care. Jacob?
My third like of this film, like I didn't say dislike, I said like. I think Nate mentioned it when in the hula girl dance, where
Ali of Papali.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, where our Jodie Benson's character goes into the water, and you get this nice little reference to the Little Mermaid, because obviously you've got
She's
Jodie
the Little
Benson.
Mermaid.
She's the Little Mermaid. Of course you're going to do a reference to that. Duh. So I thought, I was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, that's my third dislike. Third like.
Since somebody is really wanting to get to dislikes, I'm going to make him wait for 2 people.
Oh, no fair.
Nathan, what's your first dislike?
Rentmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
The pacing kills this movie. This is its cardinal sin. I hate the pacing in this. It is so front loaded, and I don't like it. Like I because we only spend I timed it. We spend a whopping 12 minutes on Skull Island.
Yeah.
12 minutes.
They focused on the wrong part of the story.
They
did. And here's what makes it even worse. Okay, as I said, the original movie is 100 minutes long. That is including an overture. Okay? That is including an overture. This is 30 minutes longer, and it feels 10 times longer.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Because they spend way too much time in New York. Most of the music is filler that has little to nothing to do with it. And I get it. Sometimes in a musical, the song doesn't necessarily move the plot along, but guess what? The music's so good, you don't care. You don't have this advantage, movie. And not really. Even at your best, you don't have that advantage. And we're only on Skull Island for 12 minutes. The T-Rex fight, which is one of the most epic moments in the original movie, is literally done in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just Kong's like, oh, look, T-Rex, done. And what?
That was so
that ticked me off. And then, and what's even crazier is Kong shows up, if you time it, shows up at the same minute mark in this movie, and it's 30 minutes shorter than the original movie.
Yeah.
He shows up at the 42-minute mark in both this and the original, if you exclude the prologue, which we are. I did. What? And then so Skull Island's done in 12 minutes, and then they rush through the second, the third act when they're in New York again. What? It ruined. Just the pacing is terrible.
Agreed.
It is just terrible. If I was a kid watching this, I would be like, why are we not on the island? Where is the monkey? I need the monkey.
Give me more monkey.
Not
Give me the monkey. Because
yes, no chip. Thank you.
I will tell you right now, it takes 42 minutes to get to Kong in the original, but the pacing feels so much better. For one thing, it's got more time for everything. It doesn't have a bunch of filler songs that just drag everything to a halt. And it is a masterclass in buildup. Like they are laying out the stuff for the characters, establishing the characters. And then they mention Kong and they're like, oh, have you ever heard of Kong? And then they're building up to Kong showing up, and they just keep just building and building and building and building. And then when Kong finally shows up after all of this mystery, because they didn't even know what he was. They magically know that he's an ape in this before they meet him. I don't understand. But, so that kills that suspense, because they're just like, oh, no, the Kong's a monkey, so we're not going to build up to it. Whatever. No, you're supposed to do this. And then when he shows up, you're like, oh, my gosh, it's a giant gorilla. And then, it's because the original is just so perfect. Anyway,
my first dislike.
No Rant Master.
Rantmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
This may be a trend.
You think?
Animation.
Oh, thank you. Bring the rain.
Here's the thing. If we were reviewing Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Which has the same animation style. A 1970s, cheaply made Saturday morning cartoon. Because that's how you had to do it back then. Made for television. I would not care. This is a 90s era film. Even everybody else is making stuff where they don't have to hide mouths to keep from animating them.
You know what makes it even worse?
I sound like the Muppet from Labyrinth.
Yes.
You know what's even worse? I don't think anybody's expressions change. The performances are emoting differently, but everybody just has a big smile on their face almost.
I'll get to that later.
Everyone has a big smile, and it looks like
it's like the opposite of 90s comic book characters who just all have permanent scowls.
Why does everybody on the Java Queen, that crew, why do they look like they were designed for Hanna-Barbera?
You're not kidding.
except not designed well for Hanna-Barbera.
Oh my gosh, you were not
These-
kidding.
they look like they're trying to be the Flintstones, but they messed up.
Yeah, but it's like they look like caricatures, but everybody else looks closer to realistic. It is. I don't understand.
Oh my gosh.
And then we get to the Pacific Islanders in their masks that animate like they're their actual heads.
Jeez.
The character,
999.
the character designs for the
You're not
Islanders
kidding.
is beyond unflattering. I know some people try to say that the Islanders in the original movie are racist. No, they're not, because they gave Noble Johnson a credit in the movie as the island chief when nobody was doing that back then. A black man gets a credit in the movie, and the island chief is a strong man. He's strong emotionally because he's a powerful leader, and he's physically strong. He is not presented negatively. Yes, he and the rest of the Islanders are superstitious, but that's just presented as something that is. It is not presented necessarily as a negative. It's a negative because they kidnapped the golden woman to sacrifice her to their god, but that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
With this, he's literally a fat dude getting carted around on a gurney.
If I may say,
freaking hut.
if I may say, what is might be the most controversial thing I've said on this show.
What?
This movie
Nani?
is more racist than Song of the South. Everyone claims Song of the South is a very racist film. Disney's ashamed to even put it on their streaming service. This movie is more racist than I can watch it on Tubi for free. Disney, if this movie existing doesn't get you to put Song of the South on Disney Plus, you fail. And you fail anyway because you're Disney. Because you... I say it's racist because it's racist against the Pacific Islanders, who are just... They're what people claim the Islanders were in the original, but weren't. They are racist caricatures of Pacific Islanders. It's gosh.
Wow, good. Oh my god.
Yeah, but like a chicken. Fly me to the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Look, I have been watching since Dragon Ball, since Akira Toriyama passed. I have been watching Dragon Ball. He intentionally designs those things designs other races in there for comedically, and they can come off as a little bit racist. This is worse. I am saying this is worse than a character in a television show with a character who is literally blackface.
Yes.
Except he's not, because he's actually based off a god, but still. Wow.
Too bad they didn't paint them blue, right?
Don't get me started on the 4Kids adaptation of Dragon Ball Z Kai. They erased halos and put gold dots over their head. Let's not go there.
I'll ask later. Oh my gosh.
I only know enough about Dragon Ball to be dangerous, and even I know that's stupid.
So anyway,
oh my gosh.
Actually, you might enjoy the first story arc, Nate. I will say that because it is based on Journey to the West.
I know enough. I know enough.
Okay. So, yeah, my first dislike for this is the animation and character designs are bad and racist.
Okay. If you're going to bring up character designs...
Because character design I consider part of this.
Okay, fine. Because one of my bonus dislikes relates to this, and for some odd reason, I got strangely upset about this in my bonus episode. Hit the button.
Rentmaster activated.
We're to 3, folks.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
Hey, I'm not used to your version. Give me a second. But anyway,
I'm giving you credit because that's what you asked for.
Why does Kong have 6 packs?
I missed this. You telling me that this version of Kong is a girl?
Pectoral muscles.
Apparently, the animators didn't do their research on gorilla anatomy and just assumed that he either has 6 very large abs or he magically has 6 pecs. It wrecked me when I saw it. I'm like, why? Why does he have 6 pecs? This makes no sense. Every other gorilla that I have seen, whether animated or not.
Hold on. Jacob needs to breathe. You broke Jacob.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, breathe. Oh, okay, do not mention veins.
I am not.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was good. Oh my god.
I wish you could screen share a screenshot of this movie. Kong's entire torso is nothing but pecs. It looks stupid.
You're not kidding.
No, Sean. Wait, that's generous. No. I'm not talking about like he has feminine anatomy. No, I mean it's literally just 6 pecs.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's either 6 pecs or 6 really big abs. I don't know. It's like his entire torso is a washboard. It's one of the stupidest character designs I have ever seen.
I agree. Oh my gosh, you're picking it up.
Yes, I am.
It's not even that. That's not even a good picture.
No, it's not. But there's surprisingly little pictures on here.
That was so. Oh my gosh! Between that and the chat, I just like.
This is the worst thing ever.
Oh my gosh, that is terrible. And someone save that.
I'm just, like I said, the first time I watched this, I flipped out when I saw that, and I got weirdly upset in my bonus episode about it. I was like, I don't know why this bothers me so much, but it bothers me. The 6-pack Kong.
Oh my god!
When you say Kong has a 6-pack, it has a completely different meaning. Each member of the 6-pack is very large. That's all I'm saying. You would have to drink a 6-pack that large to watch this movie. Well, no, that's mean. That's mean. No, you would need.
Okay, I have just learned.
You would need
something. It's actually showing somewhere else. What? This thing is also streaming on Crackle.
Oh, that makes sense.
I didn't even know Crackle existed anymore.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wow. I should correct that. You would need a 6-pack this large to watch End of Evangelion. That's is that?
This is a better one.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Let's bring up the movie again.
That one it looks like he has 4, which is still absurd.
Oh my! You are not.
I'm scared that this might actually be fan art.
Oh yeah, it looks like fan art. Oh my gosh!
So yes, that was probably the cardinal sin of the animation was that design, because it took me out of it so bad.
Oh my gosh.
So Jacob, it's now time for your first dislike.
Yeah.
We've kind of held you off long enough, which is probably mean, but
you need the button.
You know what? He's getting it anyway.
Yeah, why not?
Grantmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
You're getting a lot of shout-outs tonight, Nathan.
You are. Yes, you are.
I mean, it's practically my show at this point.
to quote a certain witch who got herself stuck in a can, I've got such a headache of the freaking animation of this movie. Oh my gosh. Like, put me out of my misery the entire freaking time of this movie. Be like, okay, the epilogue was good. Then it's like, what the living frack? Prologue. Thank you. Prologue. I apologize. Prologue. Oh my gosh, this gave me such a headache. Because I'm watching these characters and I'm like, oh my gosh, can you stay on model for 3 seconds? Like, these characters are like, the entire time. Like, good night. I have seen more professional, like, school class, like, college-made professional stuff than this. Go ahead.
Better or worse than Tentacles?
Oh, this is far worse.
What?
Far worse.
This is
Oh my-
worse than the Kami animation?
Wait till you hear my rating.
I'm just gonna say this, but like minus the Kami animation. At least the animation was decent. Was decent in it, and be like it held to
stayed.
It stayed. This is more like, oh my gosh, the characters bounce from here to there. And do not get me even started. When they're on the ship, which is called the
Java Queen.
Java Queen. Thank you. They're on the Java
coffee
Queen,
boat.
and literally the entire movie, it's all freaking close-ups, like you're right here on them, and it's just like you got this, like they're talking right here and here. It's right here in your face
Because
the entire time.
Because they're trying not to animate mouths,
I
but the character design has their eyes up here and their mouths way down here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my
so
gosh.
they're trying to get it right in the middle. That's like, this doesn't work, guys.
Did you ask elementary students to animate this for you? This is
No, they
actually
do better.
horrendous. Like, yeah, granted, there are points where it's like, okay, this looks pretty good, but then it's just like, oh my gosh, be like, I'm cringing. Can we go back to the first of this film where it looked decent? It's like, oh my gosh. Like, character model, design, everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, please get away from me. Spawn of Satan, get away from me.
I guarantee
so terrible.
I guarantee you that prologue was done first in order to sell to investors.
You're not kidding. Oh my gosh. This movie kind of scared me in some ways, animation wise. It was, oh my gosh. Like, we've reviewed some crap before, but this takes the cake for crap. When it comes to animation, Jimma freaking knees. They're like, yes, we talked about Titanic. The legend goes on. The animation was, oh my gosh, but this.
At least they tried.
They tried. I mean, like, it was at least professional in some capacity. This is a load of dog poop when it comes to animation half the time.
How much would you bet that the prologue was animated by the better of the three or four studios that worked on this? That must have been like, that's like, here, you get this part, and everybody, and then, hey, you guys, you have like $3 and 3-year-olds, right? Well, you work on the rest of it.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Oh my gosh, because we like you go from wide shots from characters who look like they're wobbling in frame to extreme close-ups right here on frame, and it just talking about something. It's just like, can you pull the frame back? I'm almost convinced. Be like, they edited this thing in post, and it's like, oh my gosh, we gotta make this thing look better. Let's squeeze their faces on screen. And it's like, oh my gosh.
I am convinced myself, along with that they were trying to keep from animating mouths.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm convinced that they filmed this as a straight-to-home video thing in 4x3, and then instead of zooming out in order to make it widescreen, they zoomed in.
Oh yeah,
because that's the only other explanation I could think of why you'd cut a head off in animation.
Oh my gosh, like you're cropping so much of the face, and it's like, what the crap am I looking at? It's like literally they're cutting the character to character, and it's just like, who the frack is this supposed to be? And it's like you said, it looks like Hanna-Barbera characters, but it's like, who drew this? Like, who designed this stuff? Ugh, makes me want to barf. Nah. That is my first. That's like, the animation is just nah. Gag me with a bloody spoon. Nah.
And then fly you to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
On a rocket ship. Faster and faster, the way we can get away from this crap.
You know, I bet Nate's bosses could help with that.
Yeah,
I have been shot into space once. And if it happened again tonight, unfortunately, I don't have Jimmy here to save me. He's off on a date with his girlfriend.
Of course.
That's the first time they've left me behind.
I know the last time was our last visit.
That is true. At least, certain AI hasn't done anything to this certain character yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Although your transmogrifier is still out of juice. How far has Space Amazon got to ship this thing?
Think
Oh, you don't have Space Amazon Prime. That explains.
Oh,
That explains
so it's
it.
all coming all the way from Japan, I guess.
No. I don't think so. No, she's saying it's coming from Alpha Centauri Prime. Where the crap is Alpha Centauri Prime?
See, I was wondering
The
if
wrong
it was.
Prime.
I was wondering if it was like Space eBay because I think that's what Jimmy uses. But even though it's called Space eBay, most of it still comes from China.
No, she says that this stuff technically has to also travel through time, so this Space Amazon doesn't even exist yet? Oh, what the crap?
Wow. Okay.
This is too wibbly wobbly timey wimey for me.
That is true, and it's very helpful.
Yeah.
I don't get turned into something for an episode for a
Yeah,
change.
no. Although we don't forget, guys, you and I had a heck of a little adventure that involved the dog.
That is true.
That is very
a
true.
nine-tailed dog.
Yeah.
I
Mine
didn't
is
know
just
Drew
not getting
could run
scared.
that. I didn't know Drew could run that fast. I just
Yeah, that was interesting.
You know, despite my size, when there's proper motivation, I can move fast. Now it's going to be like a freight train.
I'm the juggernaut. Get on my way.
So what you're saying is you're caffeinated and motivated.
I'm just saying I like to live. And I am surprisingly fit in short bursts.
So he's a fullback.
I'm just saying I'm glad there was plenty of places to dodge and weave in that park.
This is true. This is true. But, and thankfully, Jacob wasn't adopted by a Korean ghost girl as
Thank the Lord. Oh, my gosh.
I would hate to have to find another co-host at this point.
Oh, my gosh.
Or have to deal with something else living in this apartment.
Ruh-roh.
Anyway, more dislikes.
Yes, more dislikes. What's your next dislike?
Okay, I'm going to go with the lesser of them because we're going to need the button again.
Hit the button.
Now or later?
No, later. I'm saving that one for later. This is the one that I kind of added as a bonus, but then I was able to talk about the 6 packs with yours. But anyway, Kong Survival feels like an afterthought in this.
It is.
It really feels like an afterthought. I honestly wonder if it was originally written and mostly animated with Kong still dying because they still bothered, even though this is a children's movie, they still bothered to have him fall off the building and have CB say the famous line from the original movie. It was beauty killed the beast. And then what happens? Kong's eyes just open up and everyone cheers. And I'm like, that's it? He opens his eyes and I guess that means he's alive. He's not moving. As far as we know, he's paralyzed from the neck down. And you're just like, oh my gosh, he's alive. He trashed New York and maybe murdered some people. And
we're going to get him a place in New Jersey.
And we're going to take him to New Jersey because we don't like New Jersey.
I was actually just thinking, as much as everyone claims to hate New Jersey, isn't that technically worse than if you'd have let him burn on Skull Island?
I mean, to go back to the animation a little bit, I will admit the shot of the actual skull on Skull Island, the mountain, with the smoke coming out of its eyes and the lava coming out of its mouth, that was totally metal.
Yeah,
agreed.
I did like that's probably the best shot of the movie. It's like a moment of brilliance amongst everything else. But anyway, it feels like such an afterthought. Like somebody looked at it and it was mostly done, and they're like, "You can't kill the monkey because that'll make the kids sad." And they're like, okay, what do we do?
I can
just make him open his eyes.
The original.
I can guarantee you it was an afterthought because when those eyes open, nothing else does. It literally looks like they put because this is still technically cell animation.
It is.
They literally looks like they just put a couple extra cells on top of the already still background and to animate those eyes opening, and boy, do they open fast.
Yeah, they do. You know what this reminds me of?
Not groggily like it should have.
You know what this reminds me of? G.I. Joe the movie. G.I. Joe the movie, because originally you had Duke, who was supposed to die in the original take,
but because they killed Optimus Prime and everyone cried, they changed their mind.
Yeah, they changed it and did a dub over, and it looks so terrible.
Yeah, because he takes a snake spear to the chest and it puts him in a coma.
It's like, oh, he's in a coma. Oh, he'll be fine. And all the characters are crying like he's dead. It's like, wow, can you reanimate something?
Which just tells you that was even more last second. By the way, if you ever do G.I. Joe the movie, I volunteer as tribute because you already did Transformers the movie and twice, and I'm disappointed that I wasn't on it. But
I thought about it because technically all the Transformers are kaiju.
Yeah, that is true.
yes. Also, I just love that movie. But
Yes. But I think I don't remember what the reasoning was, other than by the time I thought about it, it was too
which is fine. Which is fine. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, that was even more of the whole thing just seems like an afterthought, and I do feel like it defeat. At least with the Japanese movies, the two Toho films, they were taking some elements from the original Kong story, but then just went off in a completely different direction. So you're not required to have Kong die at the end. This is trying to adapt the original story. Having Kong live defeats the purpose.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Even Peter Jackson still went through with it. And it's one
Kids
of the
will live.
and it's one of only two kaiju movies that almost makes me cry.
I know one of the other ones because it made me cry.
Oh, you've
I'm
seen
curious
Gamera
what
of the
that
Brave?
is now.
You saw Gamera of the Brave?
I haven't seen that one. I thought you were referring to -1.
Oh, -1 came pretty close to, so I guess it's kind of
I literally was nearly crying in the theater at the end of that film.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I guess it is kind of 3. Although weirdly enough, I had to work harder with Gamera of the Brave and Kong, but maybe I've just become a little more heartless. Yeah. But anyway, so having Kong live, like I said, just kind of defeats the whole purpose. And it's just like, it's one of the moments that really makes me feel like I waste my time watching this movie because I would rather watch the original.
Fair
Fair
that is
enough.
so true.
My second dislike for this film, the music. Despite the fact I thought the Sherman Brothers did a halfway decent job, the rest of this music is forgettable. All the songs are forgettable. I can't even the only reason I remember the one song you talked about with that Jodie Benson sings and she does a decent job on is because we just talked about it. For the most part, the whole soundtrack is forgettable. This is a musical. Musicals should not have a forgettable soundtrack. There should be at least one song that I wouldn't have minded hearing over and over again. And I hated every single one of these songs.
Again,
and I've forgotten most of them since I watched this movie on Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it was. I tortured myself.
This is a strange trend with Kong musicals.
Especially since this is Sherman Brothers.
Amen to that.
Sherman Brothers have written some of the most wholesome earworms in the past century. And I don't remember one of these songs.
Wholesome Earworms is my new punk band.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's my second dislike. The music is forgettable.
Oh my gosh.
Still the best Kong animated musical?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
scary.
This is not encouraging.
Jacob, your second dislike.
Second dislike.
I'm not trying to push you out faster than this. I swear.
I see how it is. Be like, he's trying to get Nick to come on this show, get over to me. I see how it is.
No, actually, I was just sitting here thinking, it's like he just wants to rush through this because he's like, this is the podcast equivalent of constipation. I'm just trying to shove it out.
No. That's not it, because I already sat through our review of End of Evangelion.
Oh my gosh. So my second dislike of this film. Go watch the original film. It's better. Yeah. You're getting your money's worth. Now, granted, when I was a kid, I watched it. Oh, it's black and white. It's boring. That's what I thought as a kid. Now, as an adult, I appreciate it when we reviewed it for
Movie of the Week
podcast. We go listen to that. Go listen to a review for that. And eventually we will review it on this show, probably with Nate.
Probably.
Of all very highly 1,000,000 to 1, it's going to happen. But oh my, it's like I'm watching this and I'm like, this looks really familiar because it's been a while since I've watched the original King Kong. And I'm like, this is the original. This is a lesser, dulled down. It's just so irritatingly annoying as a movie. And it's trying to like, oh, this is a kiddie version of King Kong. Go sit your kids down, watch the original King Kong, and let them watch a good, classic, iconic movie than this schmuck.
Careful, you're treading on my third dislike.
Man.
Hey, you
Go
kind
climb me a river, build yourself a bridge, and get over it.
You kind of treaded on mine too, so
Yeah, I think we're all kind of treading on each other in a way.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
oh my, this movie.
Hey, don't tread on me. I will get the flag.
Anywho,
Anyways,
I do want to bring up one thing related to what you're talking about. Was like,
okay,
which is your second dislike is basically just go watch the original movie.
yes,
Yeah, I have to give this script credit for one thing.
What's that?
And it might be because this is the kiddie version, but interestingly, it beats Peter Jackson to something.
Oh, really?
And sympathizes with Kong.
fair.
And this was
Granted, I don't think that was the director's intention.
Probably not.
Well, no, but
I think the animator did that.
Well, no, I'm just like, she sympathizes with Kong. Like, she feels sorry for Kong.
Yeah.
And doesn't want him to die at the end.
True.
So this movie beats Peter Jackson to doing that. Now, she's not the first of Kong's queens, as I like to call them, who sympathizes with Kong.
Yeah.
But this version of And beats can't remember her name now suddenly, but the actress in
I can't think of her name either.
It's just, I'm embarrassed that I can't remember. Hopefully the chat will tell us. But still beats Jackson to it, which I think is an interesting bit of trivia. I don't think it necessarily makes the movie good, but it's an interesting bit of trivia.
That's a good point.
Because
That's a very good point.
Because Anne is handled so much better in the Jackson version.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about a sympathetic Anne, Jackson handles it so much better.
Yeah. But like your point is very correct. Be like, you do have more of a sympathy towards Kong, but this
Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts. That's
okay.
Right.
Thank you. Oh my gosh! It'd be like, go watch the original or go watch Peter Jackson version of this film.
Yeah.
Go watch Peter Jackson's if you can't stand old things.
Yeah.
But go watch the original anyway. It's classic.
Go
You
like,
could. I mean,
refine your taste in movies, but we'll watch the original.
The original King Kong is it's not only an important piece of American cinema, it's just an important piece of cinema. It's arguably the most influential movie ever made.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Also, help me out, guys. Related thought. Does Anne ever scream in this movie?
No, she never does.
Which is weird because you got Jodie Benson. I'm pretty sure she's got a strong enough voice to scream.
Yeah. But they never had her scream in this.
No,
her screaming.
It sounds like they were trying to make her so sympathetic, like shock of awe. Oh my gosh, it's a big monkey, but she never screams, which is like, okay, that's weird. That's weird because like every other iteration of Kong, people are like, oh my gosh, it's screaming their freaking head off.
I mean, maybe Jodie Benson was being a little bit of a prima donna. She's like, I'm Jodie Benson. I need my voice because I have to sing. If I scream, it's gonna wreck it. So they're like, fine, we'll just use some stock screams. That's easy. They don't even do that.
No.
I think they just didn't want to put screaming in the film because it might scare the adults in the other room. Because obviously this film was made to babysit children, or maybe lull them to sleep.
Probably. So be like, you have like all the iterations. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, gasp, like scream their stinking head off about like this giant monkey. But for some reason, this iteration of this character is like just, oh my gosh, never screams. And it's like, no, like people get frightened, but they're not. It's, again, it is such a kiddified, muted, dull version of the classic, or even Peter Jackson's version, or even, dare I say it, the more modern versions of King Kong coming out from Legendary.
Legendary.
Yeah, Legendary. This, it's like, what in the war? I understand, like, you had this opportunity to make a King Kong film, and you went with it, and it's just like, what in the world are you doing? I guarantee they're probably fan films that did 10 times better than this hunk of garbage.
Well, I mean, considering what I've seen of some Kong knockoffs, you may want to retract that statement.
Okay.
Because we live in a world where ape exists. That includes
Asylum?
that has a dude in a gorilla suit literally flipping the camera off.
Wow.
Is that sounds like Asylum? Is that
It's
Asylum?
not Asylum. It's a South Korean movie from the late 70s
All
that
right.
also tries to rip off Jaws.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, this movie is such a weak representation of Kong.
So what you're saying is, despite having 6 packs, this is an infantilized version of King Kong. Yes,
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the infantilized version of Kong that has so many pecs that Arnold Schwarzenegger is jealous.
That's going in the thumb art. That's going in the thumbnail. Guarantee it.
The 6 pecs and holding Anya, who's
Pretty much.
who's still saying so cool.
So that is my second.
The funny part is when I was checking the Rotten Tomatoes thing to find out what the score was, the ad on the site was actually for the Spy Family movie coming out later this month.
That is hysterical. That is funny.
That's
Because
amazing.
I see that all over the place now. It's like, I wonder why.
And yet I'm not sure where it's playing around here.
Oh, Drew will find out and probably
I'll find it because I plan to see it in the theater if I can.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's playing in Dallas? I'll be there.
No, I'm not driving 200 miles. I'm not driving an electric car's range to go see this film.
Yes, you will.
No, I
Yes,
won't.
he will.
I'll wait for home video if it's that
It's
long.
not.
Oh,
it's
no,
not
he'll
entertainment. You will go.
He will find the friend that lives in Dallas and be like, hey, can I crash you? I'm going to go watch this film in theaters.
My timing will not work out that well.
Okay, well, never mind.
The worst I've done was an hour for Shin Kamen Rider, okay?
Okay.
And that theater's no longer in existence.
Wow.
Yeah.
I literally was there the final night they were open, and I didn't realize it.
What theater was that?
It's in Longview.
Interestingly,
You see that Hollywood theater?
Oh, yeah.
Interestingly, I did drive close to an hour to see Shin Godzilla.
I think I've got you beat. I drove 6 to 7 hours to go watch Little Mermaid live. Now, granted, we were driving to Oklahoma and we just made a date of it. So I drove 6 hours
The
to
live
go
action version.
the live action version of The Little Mermaid, which Jodie Benson's in.
For 5 seconds.
Okay. I can understand. Anyway,
Yeah.
you gotta finish our dislikes and get this over with.
Yes.
Nathan, I think we're on your third dislike.
We are. Let it rip, brother.
Hit the button.
That's,
Hit the button.
make like a was it Bakugan that had the tops? No, Beyblade. Make like Beyblade and let it rip.
Grandmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
All right, Drew, you just don't like all the music. I'm a little nicer to the music, but there's one song I cannot stand, and I don't even know what it's called.
Is it the CB Denim theme song?
No! That one's weird, but it at least makes some sort of sense in terms of the narrative at that point. No! The worst song in this movie is the love duet for Anne and Jack.
Oh my gosh!
The one that was added at what had to have been the last minute because there's no scene transition, despite the fact the actors are talking over it.
Yeah, it's like no
And
sense.
acting like we're switching between them.
No. It comes out of freaking nowhere. It makes no sense in context. And
Amen.
what makes it even it only exists because in the original movie, the two of them fall in love, and they're just like, we just have to make it happen because it's supposed to happen, even though we're not going to make it make any sense. And some people complain about the romance between Jack and Anne in the original movie, but at least there's still some lead up to it. And yes, Jack and Anne don't really like each other at first. And he says incredibly sexist things to her, but then he magically comes around and he's just like, hey, you know what? I think I love you. And, so there's progress and a discernible transition maybe a little sudden, but still a transition. The two of them hate each other even more in this movie. Jack freaking says that she's a jinx and she shouldn't be here, which might even be more sexist than the original movie. And then after that, they just ignore each other or hate each other. They go to the island. They're like, oh my gosh, they want to take Anne and they want to give her to their god. And then, we can't let that happen. And then, wait, smash cut to a completely unrelated song that if you took this out of context, no one would believe it's in a King Kong movie. They suddenly love each other and are having this love ballad duet. And I'm just like, what in the actual Christian hell is going on? Credit to my friend Danny DeManna for coming up with that joke. I just like it every time. I've watched this movie twice. And both times, the song blindsides me. I should have known it was coming the second time, but I apparently erased it from my memory. So it still blindsides me. And I'm like, stop it, movie. What are you doing? Just how? I think you cut a scene out. When did they suddenly love each other? I don't understand. Just
poor Nate.
And this is the sad thing is, it's not badly sung. It's still Jodie Benson being Jodie Benson, but she can't save the incredibly forgettable cliche lyrics. And the guy she's singing with is okay, but he's not Jodie Benson good. She really outshines him. But what kills it is its placement in this movie, because it makes no sense. You could cut the whole thing out and not lose anything. All you'd have to do is just smash cut to, to they're back on the boat and Anne gets kidnapped. That's it.
Yeah, agreed.
You would actually improve the movie by deleting this. And that's saying a lot.
That is true. It reminds me. It reminds me so much of like the Little Mermaid of all things. Because when they were doing premieres for it, there was a kid who got a little squirmy and be like he dropped his popcorn or something like that, and the head of the studio said be like, "Well, we got to cut the song because this little kid squirmed or something like that." This song, like, oh my gosh, you are not kidding. They could drop it like a dime and it will affect nothing of the story, and it comes out of nowhere and it's terribly. It's like barely animated. It's like
they put a cloth filter on top of it.
It's a filter on top of it. And in the end, the character, like, oh my gosh, Jodie Benson's character, it's like her lips are like, it goes silhouette. Whoop. Like, what the crap is going on?
And you know what makes it even worse? I think there's hardly any follow-up on the fact that they suddenly love each other.
There's not. It's just like,
the transition? The transition is from you're a jinx and I don't like you and I don't like you either. And you know what the transition is? It's like a little bit of voiceover where Jack's like, you know what? I think I love you. And she's like, I think I love you too. Let's sing about it. You know, thinking back on my trauma that is Titanic, I'm starting to think
the legend of Titanic. You gotta be specific here.
Yes, I'm starting to think the love ballad in that actually had made more narrative sense.
You're not kidding.
I would, I'll save that for my final rating, but that's not good. A good sign, Mighty Kong. Not a good sign.
No.
Drew?
My second dislike for this film. Third.
Third.
Jacob, I have a question for you before I answer this.
Yes.
What, historically, is the thing the thing I prefer to see in any movie?
Oh, okay.
What is the one thing every movie must have for me in order to at least be considered made?
Yes. Normally that would be interesting character, interesting story, interesting something.
There's a one-word answer to this.
Yes, I can't find the word because it's
effort.
Effort. There we go. There we go. It's like this movie. It's gone out of my head.
Look. Might as well.
Rentmaster activated.
This audio clip owned by Nate Marchand of the Monster Island Film Vault. For more information, please go to monsterislandfilmvault.com.
This movie commits the worst cardinal sin, in my opinion, in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It is dull.
You're not kidding.
It is forgettable. I fell asleep after Kong showed up while watching this film, and I had to back up and watch the same scene 3 times because I kept falling asleep in the same spot. This movie had so much trouble keeping my attention. You cannot blame this on me already knowing the story, because I've seen much better King Kong films. Because I stay awake through most other King Kong films. The only other time I know of that I fell asleep in a King Kong film, I had stayed up way too stinking late the one night before I watched the Peter Jackson's King Kong the next day, and I fell asleep at admittedly one of the slower parts of that film. That's the only other time I've ever fallen asleep in a King Kong film. You do not do me this boring when you have a giant monkey. King Kong, the section with King Kong should have been the best part of this film from at least a kid's point of view. You made this movie for kids. You obviously didn't make this movie for adults. Why did you make most of this film so boring no kid would watch it?
Pause. How is this episode rantier than both the Skull Island anime and the Titanic movie?
Because effort was in those things.
And there's
as much as I don't like Annie. Which I do want to say, I was bored enough that I got to thinking about that thing while watching this, because the question popped in my mind. I wonder if she's named Annie in the Skull Island anime because of Andero.
Oh, God, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Is that a reference? And is that not the worst reference? And then sometime after that, I fell asleep.
Oh my gosh.
This movie is so pitiful.
Mm-hmm.
I have debated on my rating if it actually beats something as being lower.
Whoa, okay, this is gonna be interesting.
I will go ahead and tell you it does not.
Okay.
Because it didn't this movie did not piss me off like that movie did.
Oh, okay.
However, breathe. Please. Animators, if you're going to make a film, I don't care if the only thing you care about is making money. At least put some effort into making money. Because I can't imagine this made you a dime. I don't even think it made you a penny.
Oh,
Wacko Warner in Wacko's Wish with his one hay penny is richer than you.
oh gosh. Wow, okay.
Wow. This is a dull film. And I will never watch it again.
Oh my.
And the fact that it doesn't beat Leo the Lion as worst film ever made, in my opinion, is a miracle in and of itself. Wow. And shows you how much I really hate Leo the Lion.
Oh, wow.
Jacob, what's your third dislike?
My third dislike
Do I need the button?
No button. No button. No needed. No needed. This is more of a what in the world animation are you doing? So, the character of Ricky. The character of Ricky. Probably
the Kenny.
Huh?
The Kenny.
Yes.
Yeah, the Kenny of the story.
I'd like to point out, now that you've said that, just a little quick observation. Chip, his monkey, is in this film more than Kong is.
You're not kidding.
This movie could have been called The Mighty Chip, and it would have made just as much sense.
Yeah, exactly. Just Ricky Chip, like movie. That's it. Movie.
There was a pet monkey in the original, but he wasn't in it for very long.
Yes, but he was better done because he was a real monkey.
Although there is an actual chimpanzee band in the sequel.
Still need to watch that one. Anyway,
I
have it. I just haven't watched it.
What sequel are we referring to?
Son of Kong.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the sequel to this thing.
I hope not.
Oh, no, gosh, please no.
There isn't a sequel, but there are other animated Kong musicals.
Oh, okay. And you say this is the better one.
Because it's actually a musical.
Oh, fudge. What did we get into? Anyways, my third dislike is Ricky. Like, it's not the fact that, like, he is a boring as snot character. All he does is, like, point out the obvious of what's going on in the story because he's that character. But it's like, whenever he's around Anne, it's like his character design, anytime he's talking to Anne at all, he's got this weird, like, sinister, oh my gosh, creepy vibes the entire time. It's like, talking about straight and chipper, but his eyes are furrowed and, like, his lip is slightly curled. It's like, what the crap are you doing? This is supposed to be your upbeat character who wants to help everybody, not flirt with Anne or something like the entire time. Like,
do I need to say it?
Hey, come on.
Do I need to say it?
What?
He's going through puberty.
I was about to say,
maybe,
come on.
Yeah, probably.
Come on. Anne Darrow is hardly the first blonde who instigated puberty.
I agree. But it's just the way it's animated. He is so freaking creepy the entire time. It's probably halftime. It's not even around Anne. It's like everybody else. It's like his weird, the way he's animated. It's like, what the crap? It's like, okay, be like the point where he finds
into the ship and suddenly something dropped, and I don't mean my voice.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh my gosh! But it's like anytime this character talks, it's like this weird, like the way he does his brow and the way he talks, and like the voice actor does a pretty good job. But the way they animate this poor kid, it's just like, what the crap? He's got this like weird expression around Anne. It's like, okay, puberty's going on. Then everybody else, he's talking really weird and his expressions are odd and funky. It's like, what the fudge are you doing? The monkey's doing better than you, pal. Come on.
He's just a sound effects library.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But I'm like, kid, calm down with the expressions. Because there again, I hate the animation in this thing. I mean, like the characters, all their animations are ooh and ah, wow, 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 trying to talk. It's like, speak like the language you're supposed to be, not some like made up alien language. Because that's what it sounds like they're talking.
Yeah,
you got this bad dub over to something that is unrecognizable to a language. It is so funky.
The natives speak a language in this that sounds like bad pidgin English as opposed to something that actually sounds
oh my gosh, you're not kidding.
It would have been better if they had just said ooga booga.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or something like that.
You know, it's horribly cliche, but still.
Oh yeah,
yes.
So that is my third dislike. I want to throw a fourth one there really fast. Okay,
bonus
round. So, question. So, who is the captain in this book? This the boat. Who's the captain?
Engelhorn.
Well, except they didn't call him that.
They don't call him that.
They called him something else in the IMDb. I don't remember what it was because they never actually mentioned the name.
It's just the captain.
Just the captain. Be like, he looks like a captain, but then you have the quote unquote the male love interest character who's thrown out of nowhere. They also call him captain. The entire time I'm like, who the frack is the captain in this?
I don't remember that, but he is the first mate.
Yeah, it's
It's technically the first mate, yeah.
first mate, but it's like they keep calling him captain. They call him captain. And it's like, who's the captain? There
Look at
again,
me.
I was like, that was
Look
the
at me.
funniest.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Oh crap, we're doomed.
I was gonna say maybe it's like a Picard and Riker thing. They're practically both captains.
True. But at least Riker will be better with the mustache, well, the beard later. This is like, what the crap's going on? There again, I do know Star Trek a little bit.
Smooth as an android's bottom, they did it.
Not as smooth as that transition.
Anyway, ratings. Nathan, you're our guest. What's your rating for this film?
Sure, this sucker. March in.
You might be a little surprised.
Really?
I will
Wait a minute.
admit I debated a little bit. What would I actually want to give this? Weirdly enough, I was not as offended by this as you guys were, because I remembered that Titanic exists.
I'd like to point out, I think both the Titanic films we've watched are better than this.
Wow, because I hate, but
Oh, we know that.
yeah, I didn't even have likes for those. Not really, but because, like I said, the cast is good, the music is serviceable. It's adapting poorly, but it's adapting one of the greatest films ever made. So it's at least hitting some high points there. There's a few moments of brilliance with the animation, like the prologue, like the shot of the Skull Mountain, which looks very metal. But it is wrecked by so many things, so I can't recommend it to people. I'm between a 3 and a 4. I'm not sure where to
So
put it.
3.5.
We'll say 3.5 because
Congratulations, you used Francisco's rating.
there you go.
That's officially his rating. Yes.
But I can't in good conscience go higher than a 4. And the only reason that it even gets into consideration for a 4 is because of like Jodie Benson being in this movie. Because the cast in that, again, I keep going back to the traumatic Titanic movie, that had nothing to offer. The actors were just terrible. They had no pedigree. And it was animated by communists. I'm not going to let that go. And it was full of lies. This is technically not full of lies. Just a lot of very bad decisions and not enough money to do anything. Maybe some wasted potential from the talent that is in it, because it has the Sherman brothers and it has Jodie Benson. So because of that, yeah, I'll just put it at a 3.5 because that is as much as I am willing to give it. That is the uppermost.
0.5.
Wow.
Whoa.
I told you it beats Leo.
Wow. Okay.
But not by much, because here's the thing. You got Jodie Benson.
Yes.
You got the Sherman brothers. They're not doing their best work, mind you, but they are what elevate this higher than Leo the Lion. With Leo the Lion, I was offended as an artist and as an audience member and as a human being at what dreck I had to watch for that. This, I see a lot of poor decisions. I see a lot of dull storytelling. It is helpful that you've got, it is based on King Kong, which is a great story. I just question, it's just every part of it is so mishandled that I'm more disappointed with this film than I actually hate it. But that disappointment does knock it all the way down to just a half a point. So, yeah, I feel like this was a cheap cash grab that the only reason there's any care in it, any effort in it at all, is because you had Jodie Benson giving her best, and you are trying to do the best she could with it, and the Sherman Brothers that were at least worked on one of the songs for a day. At least that's what it feels like.
I will tell you, it was meant to be a cash grab, but it ended up not being a cash grab, because for a while in the 90s, Universal was trying to get another King Kong movie made, and they were working with Peter Jackson to do it, but that production fell through around 1998 because of that's a lot of fish.
You have that, plus the fact that at that point Peter Jackson was mostly unknown to anyone outside of film communities.
Right. So it just didn't get through, and so that initial production fell through, and then after Lord of the Rings, it got revived,
and they gave him money.
Yeah,
and then they had Jack Black play Carl Denham, which is still like the strangest casting and the perfect casting at the same time.
Yes.
I'm convinced Jack Black can do no wrong when it comes to acting, which means someone will prove me wrong on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is. I don't want to call it. I will give it this. I said that Leo the Lion I could not call hot flaming garbage because it would be an insult to hot flaming garbage. I will at least give it nice and say that this film is hot flaming garbage.
I would also like to preface to mention that not only did I survive the Titanic movie, I've seen the other Kong musicals.
You may have more to compare it against than I do, and I am comparing it to Leo.
I understand that, but it gets actually a couple of points compared to the others. Anyway, Jacob.
Wow. I wasn't expecting the 0.5 from Drew. I was like, oh, okay. For me, I'm going to give it a 3.
Even I think it's a little harsh.
Yeah,
I'm feeling a little harsh tonight.
Yeah.
Well, what's
I
yours?
can feel it coming in the air tonight. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, no.
Row, row. But I'm going to give this a 3. But
so my score as your scores put together. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in a way. So I'm giving it a 3 because I agree with Nate. Its opening was great. I thought it was like, wow, this is pretty good. And then it was just garbage. You had a talented voice actors behind it, Jodie Benson included, because she stole every scene she was in, even though the animation made you want to vomit.
Mm-hmm.
The Sherman Brothers, yes, for all their talent, they did bring something to the table, and I may have not enjoyed it, but I do appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. If you want to rate, and for our audience members, if you watch the film, what do you rate it? Let us know in the comment section down below, or wherever you find us on social media. So yeah, solid 3. No, correction, not solid. Kind of a weak 3.
A limp-wristed 3.
Yes.
Yes, very.
On that note,
yes.
Next week.
Yes, something better.
I hope it's something better. I don't even remember what's on this list.
Kung Fu Panda 2.
Oh, yeah, that is so much better.
Jack's my donut.
Jack Black.
Speaking of Jack Black. Yes, we get to see him as a panda bear. Well, makes me wonder if we should have Dallas on. But yeah, it may be too quick for that. But yeah, Kung Fu Panda 2 is what we are doing next week. In the meantime, join us on the other side of the bumpers, and we will talk about what we've been watching, some news. Do we have an interrogation?
Yes.
Okay. And after interrogation, Spy Family.
No. Yes.
So much more.
Yes.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Retro Rewind podcast. And no, that's not just because Nate just gave the Roy rating to this movie.
Hi, Roy.
Every other week, you can join the Retro Rewind podcast as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, and a rotating cast of guest hosts, all of which are out of time. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and the Monster Island Film Vaults. If you would like to have your name shouted out on our show, a special art from Jacob, uncut episodes, and there are still 2 slots of, that's at the $10 level. $5 level is you get special Patreon exclusive reviews currently of X-Men 97. And at the $10 level, you could force us to watch a film. Like Nathan just forced us to watch a film.
Within reason.
And apparently this was within reason.
Yes.
There are some things that aren't within reason.
You're going to make me watch Titanic without sponsorship.
Like I said, there are some things without reason that we will definitely will not do, and that's a list we keep to ourselves until we have to say no. So, join us. If you would like to donate to us for any of these things, donate to us on Patreon. So, guys, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
Nathan, start us off.
I have a list.
You have a list.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so to stay on topic a little bit, I did a little bit of, shall we say, research. I watched the other Kong musicals.
I think we call that
tortured
torture.
yourself.
Yes, and I'm showing them off on the camera right now.
And-
These are both tie-ins with an animated Kong series from the early 2000s.
And Nate has
was-
completely disappeared.
Oh, well, let me actually switch to the camera. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see them, but
the reflection is killing it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? The virtual background can stuff it. All right. So here you go. So you have Kong, King of Atlantis, who, by the way, does not have 6 packs. And then Kong Return to the Jungle. This one's actually CGI.
Question.
What?
So when you say Kong King of the Jungle, I thought it's like
Return
Kong
to
King
the
of the
Jungle.
Jello.
Return to the Jungle. And Kong
King
of
of the
Atlantis.
Jello.
King of the
Wow.
Jello. That's what I thought I heard you say. I was like, no, he said jungle, but for some reason my
Yeah.
goofy mind heard jungle.
Yeah.
Jello.
So there was, like I said, there was a Kong animated series. This was done with 2D. This is actually looks like the show. And it was made to capitalize on the popularity of Godzilla, the series. It's a weird little show about a college kid who is friends with a clone of Kong, which is what this is.
So Clone Kong?
Yeah, Clone Kong. And they can basically merge together to fight other monsters.
like a fusion dance?
Yeah.
So Digimon Season 4.
Except he uses a Bluetooth, basically. A Bluetooth headset. It's a weird
So
little show.
Potaro earrings. Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird little show. So they made 2 sequel movies. There's a 40-episode show that a couple years after it was over, they made these 2 movies. This one was a cash grab for the Jackson movie. I don't know why this one even exists. And this one is 3D. This thing bored me to tears. This one is bat crap insane. And makes no sense. And the weirdest thing about both of them is they both attempt, and I say attempt, to be musicals.
As if they
of
hadn't
them-
learned from this one.
No.
Yes, they hadn't. They both they're about the same length as Mighty Kong, but each of them only have 3 songs. The songs in this one are actually sung by the characters. They come out of nowhere, and it doesn't make sense with the show because the show is not a musical. This one, the characters do not sing the songs. It's more like 3 music video interludes, and the music is even worse.
So like Tarzan.
Which
Tarzan is
Disney's
actually
Tarzan.
good.
Well, I agree
I
with
agree.
this. But I mean, they do the whole music video songs.
That is true.
Let me put it to you this way. The best thing about this movie is the gimmicky DVD case. Because the front is see-through to create the illusion of 3D.
Clever.
So the packaging designer had fun with that one.
Yeah. Otherwise, they fail even harder because they say they don't advertise themselves as a musical, but they attempt to be a musical and fail at being a musical. At least the Mighty Kong technically qualifies as a musical.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, and like I said, this one bored me to tears. The animation is just, it has zero impact. And this one's just, it's full of retcons and makes no sense. Because King Kong is literally somehow the ruler of Atlantis.
Okie then.
Well, no, I can't make that work. I was going to say something about Hollow Earth, but no, that doesn't work.
No.
And I hate Hollow
now,
Earth.
The I will say this. The interesting thing is, between the show and these movies, I heard at least 3 Beast Wars actors.
3.
3.
Okay.
All right. At least it's got that going for it.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
There's one
is-
thing. Yes, and squeezes rubber ducky.
Because the first bad guy in the show, because I watched the first few episodes of the show to prep for these, is voiced by David Kaye.
Okay.
And one of the main characters in the movies and in the show, I can't remember the gentleman's name, unfortunately. Oh, no, it's McNeil. His last name is McNeil. He's the voice of Rat Trap and half the cast.
Scott McNeil. Yeah.
Scott McNeil. He's like half the cast in Beast Wars, most notably Rat Trap. And
we all gonna die.
Yeah, we're all gonna die. And one of the bad guys in this one is voiced by the same guy as Tarantulas.
Oh.
That's what I thought. Scott McNeil is also the original English voice of Piccolo.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot that.
Yep. Otherwise, to tally off the rest of the things I've been doing, shout out to our friend Bex from Redeemed Otaku. I am neck deep into season 4 of Sailor Moon.
Which one?
The original.
Okay.
And
so you're on Super S.
Yes, or Supers.
However it's said.
Yeah, however you're supposed to say it. Not the strongest season. I'm a little bit bored with the formula, and Chibi Usa has overstayed her welcome.
Not saying anything. I'm just saying it could be worse.
I understand. I'm just saying that's my
Tokusatsu Sailor Moon is worse.
It's weird.
Luna.
It's very weird. Yeah, Puppet Luna. Yeah, I understand. So that's kind of where I'm standing on that.
Luna.
Sailor. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Anyway,
that should freak me out when I first saw it. I was like, what the crap am I watching?
Yes.
That show's 20 years old.
You will appreciate this, Drew. As hardcore of a Trekker as I am, I realized I have gaps and they must be filled.
Oh.
I did not see all of Enterprise, weirdly enough.
I can understand that if after the long run from TNG to that, so
right,
because we were all wore out originally by Enterprise.
Yeah. So I decided to fill that gap. I know I saw, as far as I know, all of the first 2 seasons. I did not see all of season 3 or 4. I have been making my way through season 3.
That's season 3 is where I remember getting back into it originally. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And watching it again, having not seen all of it, I'm like, wow, it took you 3 years, but you finally figured yourself out.
And then they forgot Star Trek until like Picard season 3.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And Strange New Worlds.
So I've been enjoying it, and
let's
I'm like,
face it,
you know,
Lorax.
it's so weird watching Enterprise now. And mind you, this is when Enterprise got good.
Yeah.
And all I keep thinking to myself is, so much of New Trek has been so terrible that I look back on this now, even though I would have said this is the weakest Star Trek show, it has retroactively risen by comparison.
It's like I've said, when I went back and rewatched parts of season 1 of Enterprise, which I need to get back to it, but since I kind of restarted from the beginning of TOS, it's going to be a bit until I get bits of Enterprise. Enterprise is a lot better show than I originally gave it credit for.
Yeah. And then besides that, on the Tokusatsu front, I've been going through the Ultraman franchise with my brother. We are currently on Ultraman Mebius, which aired from 2006 to 2007, and it was the last Ultraman show that went a full year of episodes. Because after this, they cut their seasons at least in half. Before this, they were generally doing about 50 episodes a piece for the shows. After this one, it was only about 25 episodes. Part of that was budget, because at this point, the Super Eye Productions was close to bankruptcy, despite Ultraman being popular. So they thought this would be the last show. So they went all out. It's in a lot of ways, and you'll appreciate this, Drew. In a lot of ways, it's kind of the Gokaiger of Ultraman, because they do a bunch of callbacks to the older shows, and they bring back some of the classic Ultramen and actually tie up their stories.
Huh. Well, it'll be a long time till I get to that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, also be prepared. It's 50 episodes plus 2 movies and 3 specials. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's not as much as Ultraman Cosmos, that for some odd reason is 65 episodes and 3 movies.
Oh, Gokaiger is technically 52 episodes, 2 movies when it aired, although one of those is a half hour, so I don't know if you really count that as a movie, but it wasn't a theater. And then 3 movies, because technically that was where Superhero Tyson started. And then there's like one that's like 10 years later that came out like a couple years ago, and it's like, that's a lot of stuff. I don't know how much of that's necessary. Yep. Not to mention they show up, technically there's 4th, because they're in the Go Busters versus movie too. So.
Yep. And then real quick, I've only played a little bit of it, but I started playing the remastered Ghostbusters, the video game, on PS4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I'm only like an hour or so into the game. Jimmy and I are very busy on our world tour, so I don't get a lot of gaming time.
Right.
And I have more books than I can keep track of that I'm trying to read. So there you go.
So, as I stated earlier, I am still working my way through original Dragon Ball. I am in the middle of the first tournament arc. And I just saw Jackie Chun, that is the character's name.
Yes.
Defeat Krillin. Bearing in mind, Jackie Chun is actually Master Roshi in disguise. Because he wanted to make sure somebody at that tournament could defeat these 2 boys. And considering one of those is literally a kaiju. Monster Beast Giran. Gee, I wonder what that's based off of.
Did Gamera make his cameo?
Baby Gamera. Gamera Jr. has made his cameo, because that was actually back during the first arc. In fact, I actually posted that on in your Discord when I got to that part. But
I know he's a background character. So.
Well, he's Master Roshi's primary means of travel since he can't ride Nimbus because he doesn't have a pure heart. Gee, I wonder why he doesn't have a pure heart. But I believe King Ghidorah has also already shown up in the background.
Toriyama was a big kaiju fan.
Big kaiju fan. But yeah, I'm watching through that. This show, granted, I'm watching the English dub. And I've said it before, but the English dub moves in and out of what they originally did for television, which was edited and what is obviously not censored. And it does so at weird points.
I was going to say, when you've been talking about it, that sounds so incredibly weird to me. And I keep thinking there's got to be an uncut dubbed version.
Funimation did not make an uncut version to Dragon Ball because it was not as popular as Z. And if you go back to the actual Dragon Ball Z dub, and if you go back to just watching Dragon Ball Z, like on Crunchyroll or whatever, it is still the international dub that was on the Orange Bricks, which just at the point where Funimation initially took over that from Ocean Group, it's still, the quality still drops to Sean Schimmel's very first vocal performances, which is for Goku, which is just so painfully obvious. And so it's why I suggest if you're going to watch Dragon Ball Z, go watch Z Kai at this point, unless you just have nostalgia for the original, because it is a much better dub in English.
Yeah, but it all pales by comparison to Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
That you're not kidding.
You're not wrong.
We have actually discussed how we would probably do Dragon Ball Z Abridged in TAS, because we are not going to do Z or Kai or any of the other stuff in that, because that's way too much.
Yeah. That's a lot of devotion to a lot of next Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, if we did Kai, not counting the final chapters, which is not new animation, it is literally 200 episodes.
Yes.
And we're not doing that. We're not for... The 5 seasons of X-Men was pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, my other brother, I should say, not the one who's watching Ultraman with me, joked when we were kids that the only way you could fix the pacing in Dragon Ball Z was to get Edward Scissorhands hopped up on sugar and throw him into the editing room.
Let me put it this way. I've read the manga before. I own the entire manga of Dragon Ball, which includes all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is not Toei's fault. Akira Toriyama got lost in his narrative a number of times. And sometimes it was his editor's fault for being lost. So, it's a great show. I love it. But it's like, I've been enjoying going back through Dragon Ball. I am still watching some Star Trek, but I've taken a short break from that just because of time constraints. And because I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Of course.
That game is... Okay, I love the original Final Fantasy VII, don't get me wrong. And I kind of enjoyed Remake, even though as much as it added, as good as the gameplay is, I'm still kind of wondering where the crap is this extra stuff going. Because I don't understand it yet. But at the same time, I'm loving the additions to this core story, if that makes sense. Rebirth is probably my game of the year at the moment. Just gonna put that out there. But other than that, the only thing I have actually is a book I am listening to.
Oh.
I used one of my credits from Audible to listen to a non-fiction book about the history of animation.
Oh.
Called Wild Minds, I believe is the name of it. I don't remember who the author is. I have to look it up. Let me do that right quick because it should just be right here. From where my app is. Wild Minds by Ride Mittenbuller is his name.
Okay.
It's actually been pretty interesting going through the history of animation like this, because it goes like all the way back to like the invention of before the toys that animation kind of got its start with. And it goes through like the rubber hose era of animation, and it started Disney, and everything. And I'm not sure where it's gonna stop, because I am like 10 chapters from the end, and we're in the middle of World War II.
Oh,
so I am kind of curious, like, where are you gonna finish this? Because I mean, I guess Death of Disney's got to be the closest point. But even then, you're gonna have to do a lot of jumping ahead. So I don't know where this is going to finish, but it's been very interesting to listen to, because it's hit Fleischer. It's hit, in fact, it went through the section on Superman, which is connected to something me and Nate have already recorded.
Okay.
It was actually very interesting how the stuff that he went into on that, and how they how Paramount stole Fleischer Studios basically from the Fleischer brothers. There's a reason we mentioned on that hiatus episode that will come out in a couple months, how when it goes to famous animation, it kind of goes downhill. At that time, I thought it was because they decided to go with somebody else. No, it's the same studio. It's just Paramount was now in charge and had kind of took all the money away. So yeah, it's been an interesting book to read. I suggested, if you're looking for something about the history of animation, I'm kind of surprised, as much as, like, granted, I didn't really get really into cartoons as much as I am now until we started the podcast. It was more of a casual fan before that. But the fact that I'm just now listening to a history about animation book, I kind of am surprised it took this long. Wow. But, and it is focused on American animation. There's not, and granted, I've not gotten to the parts where anime would come into it, because that's not really going to hit much, really, until you get
Post-war.
to the 50s.
Yeah, post-war.
But when you get to Astro Boy, but yeah. So far, it's been interesting. So they have talked a little bit about some of the French animation from this time period, but that's about it from the 20s anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching, reading, listening, and playing too. What have you been watching, Jim?
All right, so I'm going to start with what I listen to primarily in the morning, because during my commute to work, ever since I'm walking to work right now, which is a mile and a half, it's not bad. Not bad.
Yes, but I'm sure you'll be glad when you have a vehicle.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But most of the time, I will listen to Morning Wire, 5 Things from CNN, the Fox News Rundown.
Lots of podcasts.
Lots of podcasts. Every town has a dark side.
That's a true crime, isn't it?
Yes. Just listen for the theme. Crime Weekly, Dateline. The first
somebody likes true crime. If you didn't know,
48
and he's
be
not
like
a
one of the things
woman.
that me and my fiance kind of clicked on. It's like we both like true crime. True Crime, New Heights, which is basically football, which I enjoy football, and it's to
true crime football.
No, not true crime football. There's a little bit of that in there, but it's not this show. But it's let's see, New Heights with Jason and Travis. Crap, I totally ditched on their names. I apologize. But yeah, I listen to their stuff. They're very entertaining. They recently had an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was the shiz when it comes to the interviews. It was so good. But so that is what I've been listening to most of the mornings on my way to work and the way back from work. So I have, let me go back to where I was to give a reference. So recently I started seeing more shorts and like videos over Disney's DuckTales reboot in 2017. I was like, you know what? I started watching that a couple of years ago, and it was like kind of dropped off like everything else. And then I started watching Isaac Carlson. He's a guy who he does everything Disney, and like he wants to bring magic into the world of like just a little more lighter entertainment stuff. And he's done Tangled the series, where I discovered Tangled the series. If you haven't watched it,
we reviewed it.
Exactly. So and then he started doing these DuckTale ones, and he fell in love with it, and I started watching it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I started watching it on Disney Plus, and I'm at the very end of season 1, which I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. You get this incredible mystery of where like they know who the triplets' mother was, but they don't know who she is. So by the end of the season, we know who she is. We know what happened, but we don't know the full story yet. And then we get the big reveal. We already know who the villain is, but she just showed herself. She finally showed up. And it's like, oh my gosh, the way they do it. It's just like so good. And you got 2 more seasons. Just like anything Disney, be like they cut it off at 3 unless they get some big hoopla. But it's like, oh my gosh, this season is is so good.
Wait, did you say hoopla or poopla?
Hoopla. But yes, I will recommend this show. It's so good. It came out in 2017 and it ended in 2020, 21. So good. Highly recommend it. I am continuing watching NCIS on Netflix. I thoroughly enjoyed, definitely in season 3, we get a little more background on characters and growth of characters and the big family of NCIS. It's like 22 seasons now of NCIS, which is nuts. But I know some people are not.
That's just one of the.
That's just
shows.
one. That's one. Because I think it was NCIS LA, like went for like almost 10 seasons, which is crazy. But still on that, I've always loved NCIS. And kind of going back through that, it's just like, wow, this is a really, really good storytelling. I don't know what it is now with 22, 21, because most of the original cast are gone. But apparently they're going to bring two of the original actors back for their own spinoff on Paramount Plus, which sounds interesting.
Paramount Plus is still trying to find something besides Star Trek.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
What astonishes me is that all of these NCIS spinoffs are spun off from a spinoff.
Yes, from JAG.
Because NCIS is a spinoff of JAG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which most people have forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I think it's like originally in season 1 and 2 they would bring in JAG characters. I'm like, who the crap is this? It's like, oh, this is the character. This is who this is. Okay,
and JAG was only on for 8 seasons.
8 seasons.
And it barely got out of its first season because I had to jump networks.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally on NBC.
And its own spinoff is now in
CBS.
2 decades.
And has its own like 5 different other spinoffs off of it.
Mm-hmm. Insane. But yeah, I'm going through that. I love season 3 because you learn more about, Leroy Jethro Gibbs, the head of NCIS, or the director, or the guy who's the lead investigator, and like who he is and what's going on, because it just gets better and better from there. And you get the camaraderie between the characters. The end of season 2 is freaking amazing. It's like, oh, if you hadn't watched it, Twilight is probably the best episode. It's like you get to the end and just, it's so good. And it's just like the last line is, sorry, Kate. And it's just like, oh my gosh, so good. I love it. I know it probably gets worse as it gets on because that's what every season does. And I guarantee we've all watched seasons where it's, oh my gosh, this is so good. And you get the middle of it and it's like, this is not good. And it might warm up here and there, but it's like, this is good. This is golden so far. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. And plus I'm still going through the Griffin Door, which is from the Super Carlin Brothers on YouTube. And they're going through the Harry Potter books, and they are about halfway through the Chamber of Secrets. And these guys are incredible when it comes to just like their vast knowledge of Harry Potter, kind of like Nate or Drew when it comes to kaiju and the latter. So yeah, that is what I've been listening to and watching.
All right. So what do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealit. And so apparently at CinemaCon, I think it was like last week, I believe, the Walt Disney Studio announced several major franchise feature releases in 2026. The entertainment giant with big mouse ears filled in the upcoming film presentation will be held on the last day of the event, which is April 11th, which was
It's
yes.
about a week.
It's about a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a week. But let's see. Animator fans look forward to Pixar's Toy Story 5.
Still don't know why they're making this.
Money. That's all it is.
It should have ended with 3. 4 is okay.
Yeah.
But it should have ended with 3.
3 was like in on a golden note. That's all I'm saying. Disney.
Pixar is not what it used to be.
No, it's not. They need to go back to just storytelling. Good original storytelling.
They
and Disney
used,
go back to story the classic stories. Go back to those.
they
But I
had
digress.
they had such a perfect track record for years.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I blame Soul. I'm sorry, that was
Oh.
the first one I didn't like.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Or really didn't like.
All right. Let's see. Toy Story 5, which is taking the untitled Pixar film, which is slated for June 19th, 2026. Let's see. It will arrive in 30 and a half years after groundbreaking, when the original Pixar Disney Toy Story arrived in theaters. Let's see. Moana Part 2 is somewhat taking as shifting back to give Moana 2 some breathing room. The live action remake of Disney's Moana moves from its previous date in June 27th, 2025 to July 10th, 2026. Quit making remakes. Quit making these live action remakes of films. I know, oh my gosh, people want to go see it. Just make original content, Disney. Come on.
Please.
Well, this Moana remake does have one thing going for it.
Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, Rock! Because
Can
Rock,
you hear what The Rock is singing?
yeah, I just, The Rock is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's good in
agree.
everything. Doesn't matter how terrible everything else is, he's still good.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
He is one of the bright spots of the Jumanji reboots.
That is true. That is true.
The other one being Jack Black,
That is true.
playing a 14-year-old girl.
Oh. Yep. All right. So, animated films coming out in 2023. Announced domestic dates. Starting on
23 was last year.
24.
24. I mean
24.
26. I apologize.
Right.
The whole dyslexia thing. I read things backwards.
It's more like dysnumbria.
Oh, yeah, your dyslexia veered into wibbly wobbly timey wimey there.
This is not the first time.
No, it's not.
You
And
have-
probably not.
I
Probably
didn't.
not.
I didn't realize your dyslexia was transcendent. Transcendent Dyslexia is the first album by Wholesome Earworms.
Oh, anyways, starting on March 1st, Cat in the Hat by Disney. By Warner Brothers, or Warner Bros. April 2nd, this one's going to be good. The Super Mario Bros. Movie 2 by Universal, Illumination, and Nintendo.
Yeah, fast track that one because I bet that'll be good.
June 19th of 2026, Toy Story 5.
Next.
July 21st, Untitled, third Paw Patrol movie. Why?
Wait, they have a
There's
second?
already a second one besides the first one.
There's 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And lastly,
Not for me. That's all I know.
Okay. So, October 9th.
Self-sponsor Paw Patrol?
That would be funny, but
I wouldn't do it.
I'll say October 9th, Untitled, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem sequel by Paramount.
I can't believe they're making a sequel.
Of course.
Were you not a fan of the original?
I didn't bother with it. nothing about it impressed me enough to make me care. Plus,
It was decent.
it didn't help that I had a friend, well, more like an acquaintance, I should say, who was very obnoxious about it. And anytime I mentioned what I wasn't liking, judging by the trailers, he tried to berate me and then tried to get me to make a bet that that would involve being resolved on stream, where I would either have to admit that I was wrong, and I forget, there was something stupid I would have to do on stream if I ended up liking the movie, or I would have to go on there and still say I didn't like it, which I knew was just going to lead to an argument on stream. So I'm like, I am not about to get backed into a corner where I have to be publicly embarrassed about this movie.
Fair.
That's fair enough.
So
I've dealt with people like that.
So all of the stuff that was already not impressing me, plus that, has kind of soured me to the movie.
Fair
enough.
So, continuing this somewhat of a train wreck of Disney, like eating its own foot.
Eating its own tail.
Yeah, I think at the point they're in there.
Wait.
It's a mouse version of the Ouroboros.
I was going to say, when did Disney become an Ouroboros? Yeah.
What is
a Mouseoboros?
What's an Ouroboros?
Ouroboros is...
that makes sense. Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
It's the fancy term for a snake eating its own tail.
Oh, okay. I learned something today. Nice.
I mainly know it because it's like the name of a fantasy weapon in Soul Calibur.
Oh.
I know it because
and I used to be into Soul Calibur, so
I know it because it's a name that gets used a lot in Japanese pop culture.
That too.
Fair. Okay, so November 25th, Disney is releasing Frozen 3.
Why? The second one was bad enough. I'm not saying it was a bad film, but good night, let it go.
Yeah.
That was not even intentional, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. So, get through this really fast. There is a Woody Woodpecker movie coming out.
Well, someone's got to try to make money off of it.
That's true. Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. Let's see. There is no date for correction. It is going to be Netflix on April 12th.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically it.
I just realized Woody Woodpecker is one of the few things that's not come up in that book.
No, be like
the book I was listening to about history of animation, which is weird.
Yeah, which is
it's a major character.
Agreed. It'd be like no one has barely touched Woody Woodpecker in years. I think the closest thing was probably in the 90s.
I know there was a video game that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, there was a video game. There was something else that came out in the 90s that was related to Woody Woodpecker. And I remember going to my grandparents' place and watching Woody Woodpecker. And it's just funny as can be. You know, those old, I don't remember who did Woody Woodpecker, the cartoons at least. But
Universal.
Thank you. There was
a 2017 Woody Woodpecker film.
Thank you. Okay.
That Illumination apparently started on, but you can't tell if it went.
That's right. I remember reading about that. Be like they got halfway through it and just it was going
to be a live action CGI hybrid film.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, this is the same thing.
Bobo, I love it.
Yes.
Bobo, I love it. Will it be followed by Woody Woodpecker Saves Christmas,
yes.
Woody Woodpecker Goes to Jail, and Woody Woodpecker Scared Stupid?
Yes. You know what? Yes, let's do this.
Yes, there we go. Just get the insanity out of the way.
You know what I mean, Vern?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, there is a Woody Woodpecker movie that is live action hybrid coming to Netflix on April 12th.
Okay, this one that was done in 2017 was actually a Brazilian film.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, is this Woody Woodpecker film coming out this year?
It looks like it, yes.
Okay.
April 12th, actually, in a week.
If you're going to talk about animated stuff coming out this year on Netflix, like I said, Ultraman Rising, mid-June. I think it's June 17th or something like that.
Since I'm fairly certain I don't have to know much Ultraman to watch it, I probably will watch it.
No, it's completely self-contained.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's about the only way I can watch new Ultraman at this point because I'm so far behind on everything.
It's admittedly a little bit strange for Ultraman. The host is
I was gonna say it's strange, and I'm thinking I saw Shin Ultraman, and that
Well,
was fairly
it's
strange.
Not that it's not that brand of strange, but the host is a baseball player, which is a little different. So it doesn't look like there's a Science Patrol team. And the story is about Ultraman taking care of a baby kaiju because he killed the parent.
That's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Enterprise's Child, I believe, was the name of it.
Oh my gosh.
So it's definitely different. The tone is closer to like, I don't want to say Illumination Studios. That's probably not accurate, but it's a little closer to that. But as much as I was worried about all of the stuff that I saw in the trailer, the guy making it is, I can't remember his name, but it's the guy who did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be competent, at least.
I was going to say, that gives me faith. That gives me faith. It's still a little strange, but that gives me faith.
Okay.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. And that is all I have for in the news.
Then why don't we get into the interrogation?
Oh, no.
Interrogation.
And I normally don't do this, but because we are going long, keep it short.
Sure.
You say you're going to have to split this into two.
I will never done a split episode. We're not starting today.
All right. So real quick, worst animated, not the movie we just recently reviewed,
or Titanic,
or the three
other
King Kong films.
Oh, those are still, these other two are still not the worst animated thing.
Okay, worst animated kaiju films you've ever seen.
Worst
that
animated
have not been on this show.
Not been on this show.
That have not been on the show.
Yes, been on this show.
This show. It can be on your show.
I actually haven't done a lot of animation on my show, which is kind of weird. Now that I think about it.
Or that you've seen.
That I've seen. Give me a second.
2 hours later.
You know what? I may change my mind later, but I'm just going to go with this since certain things have been disqualified. I'm going to say it's this. Return to the Jungle. Because it is Kong Return of the Jungle, because it has because it has zero energy. The 3D animation is stiff. It's barely recognizable as the show it came from. And they replaced some of the voice actors and they're not as good. It's just, and it's boring. It is so boring. And I just wanted it's 70 minutes and it feels like 5 hours. I was bored to tears watching it. At least King of Atlantis is bat crap crazy. You know, and has some voice actors I like in it. You know, the script is a mess, admittedly, but Return to the Jungle, I don't even know why it exists. It just
fair enough.
Well, like I said, I may change my mind later. Change my mind later because there's some other stuff that I've seen that's animated that I would say is not as good as certain things, but it's not terrible.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So, favorite Disney movie?
Favorite Disney, like all time animated, not animated?
No, just Disney animated movie.
Oh, Disney animated. Okay, you qualified it because if we're including live action, it would be a different answer.
Yes.
I'm assuming we're talking Walt Disney Animation Studios, not any of the other animation
Pixar.
Studios.
Yes.
Not Pixar, because Pixar's excluded. Disney that's a different story
Studios.
Too.
That's why I verified, because Disney technically has had 5 different animation studios under it.
It's probably Home on the Range.
Please no.
I forgot that movie existed until you just said that it existed.
I actually had one of our listeners actually say, be like, it's not a bad film.
I'm sure
now,
it's
granted,
not.
She's a Disney file.
I'm sure it's not a bad film, but at the same time, there's a reason it's the last of the Dark Ages, the modern Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Before the second Renaissance, when now we're in the third Dark Ages. But anyway.
It just keeps, it's a cycle.
It's a wave.
It's a wave.
And something just pounds into the surf.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's an easy answer, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Go ahead.
Aladdin.
Fair. That's a great film.
I was a big fan of that as a kid growing up. And I got into like that became its own little franchise, and I got sucked into all of it. I watched the 2 sequels, I watched the show. I hated the live action remake.
Fair.
I'll give that to you. Honestly, I enjoyed the live action remake to a degree, but I think it was mostly because of the Bollywood influence.
That's the only thing that kind of elevates that one a little bit. I mean,
and I don't hate Will Smith's Genie.
I don't hate Will Smith's Genie either, but try following up Robin Williams.
Yeah,
that is true. That is a hard act to follow.
If in a vacuum, it would have been fine.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it would have retroactively been elevated if Will Smith smacked Aladdin. But I didn't like the new song that they added, and I didn't like the new take on Jasmine. But
fair.
The whole thing is just like just boring. It has no soul.
That sounds like what I'm
it.
afraid they're going to do with live action Hercules.
Mm-hmm. If they
you already have a gazillion live action Hercules movies. We don't need the Disney version.
But the thing is, they've like done announcements for it, like cast announcements, and they've already said James Woods not returning as Hades. Then what is the point?
That is true.
James Woods would come back in an instant for Hades. He has every other time. No one else has voiced Hades.
Mm-hmm.
Who's playing Hercules?
I don't know, but I bet it's not Sean Astin. Sean Astin wouldn't fit the role, admittedly, but
sure.
He is the voice of Hercules, so
it'll be like, I don't know, Tom Holland.
Probably.
Which I would say that doesn't fit at all.
No, it doesn't.
I think you'd have to use a lot of CG to make that work. Maybe he could do young Hercules.
Yeah, exactly.
Before he beefed up. But
I don't know who like the current like Disney Channel heartthrob is anymore.
That being said, I will accept Ryan Reynolds as what is that character's name?
Deadpool?
The satyr. Danny DeVito's character.
Oh crap!
I don't remember. It's been too long.
Phil.
I would accept Ryan Reynolds as Phil. I think he could pull that off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
that's almost also a Detective Pikachu joke.
Which is still weird.
Anyway,
that is true.
You got another question?
Yes. Final question, because we want to wrap this up and not go 5 hours.
I've done that once.
Car Ranger. Moving on.
Oh, gotcha.
That was 4.
Final question.
Felt like 5.
What would be the worst situation for you? Be like, not as, Nate the character, but as Nathan Marchand.
But he is Nate the character.
I know. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm confused. Anyway.
They're temporarily out of character.
Yeah, temporary
no
out of character.
kayfabe. Okay.
Temporary out of character.
And a rare instance of the kayfabe dropping live. All right.
Yes. So what kaiju universe or kaiju movie would you not want to be in?
Probably the anime trilogy.
Okay.
Not because I hate the anime trilogy, because I don't, but because it's an incredibly unhappy situation.
Fair enough. I still need to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's divisive, to say the least.
That's what I've heard. That's
Godzilla shows up.
Well,
wrecks everything so bad that the last remnants of humanity retreat into space.
See, that's what threw me. I actually started the first film.
Yeah.
I actually started the first film, and he's doing that log in space, and I'm going, am I watching the right show?
Yeah. So they
this does not feel Godzilla. This feels like maybe a remake of War in Space.
Yeah. No. It's too bad we're out of kayfabe, or else there would be comments. But but no. So humanity retreats into space to go find a new home. They don't, which is depressing enough. So they're like, I guess we're gonna have to go back and hope that Godzilla doesn't kill us. And then they go back and they're like, oh, it hasn't been 200 years. It's been 20,000.
So, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, let's try going back to the planet anyway. Oh, it's completely different because of Godzilla.
Of course.
We can't, so it's going to be really hard to even live here. Well, we'll try anyway, I guess. Oh, wait, Godzilla is wrecking everything. Oh, spoiler warning, we think we killed Godzilla. Actually, we didn't. That's his kid. There's real Godzilla, and he's bigger and meaner. And even more of a
you're
problem.
telling me the first Godzilla that's in this thing is going to be Manila, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they're like, well, what else are we gonna, let's go to Mechagodzilla City. Well, that's not gonna work out very well because Mechagodzilla City is kind of a crazy AI. And then then Godzilla's like, oh, I'll just blow that up. Oh, wait, Lovecraftian Ghidorah is showing up now. And
now I actually really do want to watch this.
If you survived, I will warn you. I will warn you, Planet Eater in particular, the third one, might give you PTSD flashbacks to Ava.
I can live with this because I have... My problems with Ava have nothing to do with the pretentiousness, okay? I can live with pretentious. End of the world. I've played Persona. I need to finish 3, but still, I've played Persona. I get it.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So that one would probably be the one I would be like, no, because everything's just really unhappy. And even when you get to the end, it's like, well, we're rebuilding the world now. So it's going to be hard. We're kind of happy, but it's going to be hard. And yeah. So probably that one.
Okay.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Interrogation over.
Kayfabe reactivated.
We need a sound effect for this.
For kayfabe reactivated?
Yeah. Anywho, on that note, why don't we go into something wholesome?
Yes, and funny.
Something that has a liar and a murderer and is more wholesome than Ava.
Because they're actually growing? And it's a comedy.
Yes.
Let's jump into the Spy Family, why don't we?
Bond. James Bond Jr. Impossible. Call me big man if you wanna reach me. When you wanna face me, it's okay.
The man of Flintstone. What an agent, what a squirrel. He's got the country in a whirl. What's his name? Shh, secret swirl.
Johnny Quest.
Anybody want a peanut?
Love it.
I keep forgetting I put that sound clip at the end.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
You know what, Bobo? I'm just glad someone else besides me even knows that James Bond Jr. existed.
Yes.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. He's not a junior, he's a nephew.
But that's not the name of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
The title is a lie.
Exactly.
What's new?
Pussycat.
Saturday morning cartoons making cheap kids shows.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
I mean, come on. We all know that James Bond's probably got at least a few children.
I was going to say, how do we know
around.
that really isn't his kid?
Yeah, you never know. Like, oh, yes, you're my nephew. Yes.
Yeah, nephew.
Yeah.
That show is cake, and the cake is a lie. You're not wrong.
No.
You're not wrong.
I feel like cake after this.
So, just a quick question before we get into these reviews. This is your first viewing of Spy Family, is my understanding, Nate.
Yes.
And did you watch episodes 1 and 2 before?
Of course.
I just wanted to make sure.
He's thorough. He's a researcher.
Want to verify that we're all on the same page. I may be a little further along because I've got the manga and I've watched most of the series that's out so far. But okay. So, Spy Family's Mission 3. Prepare for the interview.
Oh my gosh.
Directed by Takahashi Katagiri and written by Daishiro Tanimura. I actually think I misspelled that. Missaid that one. This one adapts chapter 3 of the manga, also the very first page of the first chapter. It backed up a little bit. In this episode, Yor moves in with Lloyd and Anya. Now that they are a family, they need to prepare for the interview, but Lloyd realizes with how Anya and Yor currently are, the interview probably won't go well. In order to make sure they all understand how an upper-class family should be, Lloyd decides that they should all go out as a family. They go to an opera, a museum, and these aren't clicking for Anya. Twilight begins to lose hope until... That would be spoilers. This is actually the beginning of the admissions interview arc, which is not very long.
No, it's not.
This episode opens with an adaptation, as I said, of the first 3 pages, actually, of chapter 1. This sequence, however, is censored compared to the manga, as seems to be common in this. In this version, the dead bodies under Yor's chair are colored black, and so are the items under Lloyd's chair. In previews, however, released before the anime started airing, the same sequence, though not finished, appeared with the bodies uncensored and the items far more visible.
Wow.
The anime exclusive content for this episode, the sequences of Yor arriving at the forged residence and being shown around the house by Anya, followed by having drinks and snacks with her and Lloyd before the practice interview, is expanded compared to the manga. Lloyd also asks Yor one additional question in the practice interview. The flashback scenes with Lloyd cleaning and baking cookies with Anya, attempting to help, were added. When Lloyd brings up that he and Yor's marriage certificate backdated a year, it is explicitly shown that Frankie was the one who forged it. It was not shown that in the manga. During the museum visit, there are new scenes of Anya drawing in the kids' area. More new scenes include the forger stopping at the tailor shop to buy new dresses for Yor, and then going to a photo studio to take a family picture. This was not in the manga. Also, the shot of Yor arriving at the Four Regents at the beginning of the episode with an unsure expression directly contrasts with the shot of her near the end of the episode returning home after the first outing with a much more relaxed expression. Also, the family picture Lloyd, Yor, and Anya take in this episode is the family photo that will debut later on in chapter 25 of the manga, though without Bond in it. And if you don't know who Bond is, you'll meet him soon enough. That picture, in turn, was based on the cover photo for chapter 2. Also, lastly, an opera singer performs the poem Estuans Interius from Karl Orff's Carmina Burana in the anime. However, in the manga, it was a female singer who appears with musical notes and referencing, and I definitely am going to mispronounce this, Der Hohlrasch Kot in meinem Herzen from W.A. Mozart's opera Die Zauberflöte. I know I screwed that up.
I can't tell if you just told me that you love me or you want to rip my throat out.
I don't know either. But if you had any doubt, this is obviously Germany that this show is taking place in. I think it's gone now.
Yeah.
So, Nate, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Episode 3, I weirdly enough, I took more notes on this one than the next episode, even though I like the next episode more.
Yeah.
But I ended up.
And there was no new cast members. I should have mentioned.
I was waiting for that. Actually, I was waiting for that. But it was interesting watching these 2 episodes. Actually, taking notes when I didn't do that for the first 2, and I first off, why do we need a recap?
That is my question, because my guess was maybe the first 2 episodes were originally meant to be like an hour-long episode, but they didn't do that for some reason. So I don't know why we got an extra recap in this.
Yeah, because we got a recap kind of the first 2 episodes, and then we got exposition about the characters that we already know because we watched the show.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest ding against this episode, because I just felt like it was completely unnecessary.
I didn't mind the recreation of the first 3 pages, because it's kind of of the manga, because it's kind of disappointing those aren't at the beginning of the first episode, but at the same time, it really didn't fit there for the way they did this. So this would be the best place if you're going to show that, I guess. But at the same time, maybe leave it out. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, but otherwise, the things that I was noticing about this, because this is really just the warm up to the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
agreed.
Because the next episode is where the quote unquote action happens.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's the next episode where the show really kicks off good to me. But anyway.
Right. Now, it's not to say that this episode isn't entertaining, because it is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But most of my notes on it are things that are just kind of like general observations about the show. Like, Forger is a perfect alias for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost on the nose, to be honest.
Well, considering that Lloyd, like I found out, is actually based off of a pickpocketing term.
Yeah.
I didn't know that before last episode, so I just thought it was like, oh, Lloyd, because it could have been also be Royd, and it's weird in Japanese with the LR thing.
Yeah.
But that's, anyway.
Right. And some other things, just kind of general observations, is it dawned on me watching this that they actually have a built-in excuse to use all of the voiceovers, and it's Anya. So you could just assume that you're just hearing what she hears, which is why they can get away with all the voiceovers.
Yeah.
Normally, you don't want to overdo voiceovers like this, but the show can get away with it because it's got a built-in excuse. Although, it also begs the question, how long are her found parents going to go before they figure out that she's telepathic? Because I think that's kind of one of the jokes, is that Twilight is freakishly observant. Like, he's Sherlock Holmes levels of observant and smart, and he hasn't figured it out yet.
I will say that as far as I've watched, they have not figured it out yet. But at the same time, as observant as Lloyd is, you'll note if you when you continue this, he does miss some things that are fairly obvious, because he never figures Yor out either, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's the other.
He's
and
so
I think
blinded by the mission.
He's so focused on the mission, he's missing things closer.
Yeah, I think that's part of the joke, but at the same, and also the other thing is that I'm also realizing if they actually do start figuring each other out, it's kind of going to destroy the dynamic possibly. Yeah. And I don't know if it can survive that. But it's only a few episodes in. They don't need to figure it out now.
No.
So
that would explode the illusion of the show.
Exactly.
Right. I would also like to point out, and I don't remember this in the second episode, even though I think the second episode is when they had the opening theme, but the opening sequence is kind of wonderful. I'm trying to figure out what art style that reminds me of, but it's got these very pastel. What?
Opening of Parent Trap.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me the most of.
Because it's got this very like 60s old fashioned, very like you're right with Parent Trap. Like, you see a lot of like family oriented TV shows from the 60s that would do an art style like this, which is what this is trying to juxtapose. It's trying to juxtapose like a violent spy thriller with a family show.
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of the humor comes in. And, so I very much appreciate it. And it's such a drastically different art style from the actual show, which even the opening sequence contrasts, because sometimes the regular animation pops in for a second and then it goes away.
Well, that initial transition when it goes from that to the the more high action stuff, when the music switches into the chorus. I have watched that so many times, and it's fun to watch Lloyd's eyes change from the super comic style to the full, action thing, because it's lined up exactly where his eyes are, which is crazy.
Yeah,
in that beginning that switch over animation.
Right. Also, Anya continues to be adorable.
Agreed.
Oh yes.
And her reactions, as I have discovered, are highly memeable.
Yeah. I discovered most of these memes from the manga first when I was watching the show. It wasn't that I was reading the manga, it's just like the memes from the manga were already all over the place. And I would be, okay, I know what that one, I'm looking forward to seeing that in the anime. In fact, my favorite one actually has already shown up in the closing. But it hasn't happened in the show yet from where we're watching.
Yeah, because her freak out face is just too cute.
Agreed.
And she does it a lot.
Wait till you see her fake smile.
Oh no. Gosh, yes. That's so good.
Oh
so
no.
Good.
I would say, I think personally for me, I think the line of the episode, because like I said, this is a pretty mundane episode compared to the other ones that we've had so far, is when they go to the art museum, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I already know what the joke's gonna be, but it was still funny when it got there.
I was just waiting for it.
So there's a nude painting up on the wall, and you hear Lloyd just talking about it. It's like, yes, we're here to be refined, and this is such high art. And then you have this child just walking over there, and she says, and I quote, "Papa, she has boobies. I can see them."
Yes.
Which is such a thing that a little kid's gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, yours over there staring lovingly at a guillotine.
Yes.
Which, when I saw that, I wasn't like, is she weirdly triggered by this? Is she in love with it? I don't understand what's going on here.
And see, the weird thing is, this is like the only time she appears to be aroused by blades is in this episode,
which is so weird.
She's just like, was this an idea that Tetsuya Endo, the manga creator, had and then never decided to keep going with it because it's just odd?
When you put it like that, that just reminds me of this kind of forgotten but very fun original Xbox game. It was like a pseudo Smash Brothers party style fighting game that was called Kung Fu Chaos. And all of the characters were parody versions of martial arts archetypal characters, and all their names are puns.
Right.
And there was one that was the token like Chinese assassin lady, and her name, I'm not kidding you, her name was Zui Tan Sour.
Nice.
And one of the lines that she would say often while you're playing the game was, "Blades like you," and then she would throw knives at you.
Too funny.
That's what it made me think of when you put it that way.
Well, I mean, how else are you supposed to interpret her looks at the diner and looking at the guillotines?
Yeah,
but,
as I pointed out, everybody in the show has issues except maybe Anya. Maybe Anya.
Oh, she's got issues.
Oh, okay, never mind.
We haven't seen them yet.
Everybody in the show has issues, but they're dealing with them, which is why this is more wholesome than Ava.
Jacob, what are your thoughts on this episode?
My gosh. You get to the museum and Anya being Anya. It's like, look, daddy boobies. It was so great. And like you pointed out, it was great. This episode is so good. It's definitely when Anya is they're like, oh, go play in the playground, and she's scribbling all over the place, and she's flipping out. It's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna figure out that I know, and it's just like,
and you look at it's like, nope,
nope,
and there's like, that's an interesting take on this, and this. That middle part's a little, is a little disturbing. There's that poor cat. That's a doggy. Oh, it's a dog.
Yes. It's a doggy. Well, I loved how he interpreted her picture of Lloyd as a spy. He just like, oh, that's Bond Man from your anime.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's like, Daddy's so cool. He's a cool liar.
Oh, and then there was this one where you had one of these child acting weirdly adult moments that they always put in stuff like this, where she's like, sitting up here, everybody down there looks like trash. Where did you learn that? Cartoons. I feel like you should just clip that out and just make that part of the theme song for your show now. Where did you learn that? Cartoons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this like you said, Nate, like this episode in itself is more like a build up to the next episode because we're getting our characters a little more warmer to each other and getting them more personalities and the almost pre-test of what they have to do.
Yeah.
But it's
then you get to the part where Yor is murderously triggered by purse snatchers.
Oh,
I love that sequence.
Love that. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I mean, it's great, but I'm just like, wow, she really hates purse snatchers.
Yes.
One gets the feeling she's had to fight that a couple times. And yeah.
This episode
I love how Anya gets around not being caught and reading the guy's mind to find out where he says, I want cake! It's like, really? We just ate. Oh, wait a minute. You can change your clothes, but you can't change how you walk. It's like, you are much more observant than I am, Floyd, because this looks like it's the same walk cycle everybody else has.
But yeah, it's so clever how it'd be like you use Anya, who's the telepath, and she's just it's so funny because you have, like they're all hiding secrets from each other, and it's so funny. And obviously,
the
Anya
child
knows
is the one that knows everything,
and so knows everything,
and she's got the most
secrets
OP.
from them.
She's got the most OP ability, and she's just not smart enough to know how to use it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then, but here's the thing: she knows Yor and Twilight's secrets, but they don't know her secrets.
No, nothing about her.
Just wait until the dog shows up. We'll get that after the wedding.
Yes.
After his wedding.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this was actually this might be the weakest episode in my opinion of this first half of season 1. I have to say that specifically. It's just because this is like there's interesting stuff here, but it's like there's no the story really doesn't move forward. It's more about getting to know these characters, but yet we kind of already know these characters. Yes. There's a couple fun, interesting things here. We get I just love Anya's baby talk, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Calling everything ootings and her outfit and the thing is, I thought this has to be something added to the English version when I watched this originally. No, it's there in the Japanese version too.
Wow.
It's just different because of the different words. So yeah, I like this episode, but at the same time, it's like there's so many better ones coming that this one is just by its nature is kind of the weakest one of the season, to be honest, or this first half of it anyway. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the second one, unless y'all have anything else to add.
Nope. I just have one quick question.
Okay.
I'm having a difficult time placing the time frame for this show. I know it's an alternate world, but I'm having trouble placing the time frame because there's a weird mix of technologies in here.
So I'm obviously Cold War era. I'm guessing somewhere in like the late 50s. Maybe early 60s. Really, it's going around the time the first James Bond movie came out.
Yeah.
Because obviously James Bond is a very heavy influence on this. So I'm guessing late 50s, early 60s. Ish. I don't know if East Berlin was that good at this time, but anyway. It's weird. Mission 4. The Prestigious Schools Interview. Oh my god. Directed by Kento Tatsuyuki and written by Rino Yamazaki. This actually adapts chapters 4 and 5 of the manga. In this episode, the day they have been preparing for has finally arrived. The forgers are fully prepared and head to the interview. As soon as they enter the school grounds, however, Lloyd feels someone watching them. All of the applicants were being observed from the shadows by the instructors of the academy. The exam has already begun. Housemaster Henderson, who would be grading their performance, keeps a keen eye on the foragers when acting and seeing if they truly have elegance to enter the prestigious Eden Academy. Yeah. Of course, as I said, our new cast member for this one, who will come up relatively often, is Henry Henderson, the housemaster of Anya's house, even though she doesn't stay on campus. And in the English version, he is voiced by Barry Yandell. In the manga, when the forgers go to help the students stuck in the gutter, a family offers their assistance but quickly leave when the students start splashing around. This family doesn't appear in this episode. In the manga, right before entering the interview, Lloyd mentions that he is more nervous than the time he stopped a nuclear weapon with 1 second to spare. For the anime, both the visuals and the dialogue are changed to simply say that he stopped a missile from launching, removing mention of the word nuclear. In the Japanese version, the English dub undoes this change, saying that Lloyd stopped a nuclear missile from launching. The family portrait that falls down at the end of the episode is the same one from the previous one. In the manga, it was just an indistinct framed photo. And that's all the trivia I've got for this one. Nate, what's your opinions on this episode?
This school is comically elitist.
Just wait.
You're not kidding. Oh my gosh.
You think it's bad now.
There were points where the housemaster, I think, forgot what kind of anime he was in. And it's the kind of, I think for a second he thought he was in the kind of anime that you guys don't talk about on this show.
I don't know what you're talking about. He seemed like he really liked elegance to me.
Perhaps a little too much.
A little bit. Maybe, yes.
Let me just... If there were tentacles in here, I wouldn't have been surprised. I'll just leave it at that.
Thankfully, that octopus did not show up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was just so ridiculous. And I think my favorite part of the whole thing is they're walking onto the school grounds, and it subtly becomes it becomes an action sequence with no action.
Yeah.
Easy. It turns into a chess game with plans within plans and more plans and moves and counter moves and counter moves to the counter moves. And
he's got a second suit. No, he's got a third suit.
We really thought ahead for this. Why does the third suit have a top hat? Where were you keeping that top hat, Lloyd? Because those don't just come out nice.
And then, so there's all these things that they're trying to arrange to do, and Twilight is going into full tilt spy mode because he's like, I know they're looking at me, because he's used to think he's like, they have snipers and they're going to shoot me, and at this time he's like, the officials, they are looking at me. We must maintain our cover. And and the fact that hilariously is the schoolmasters actually get it right and don't follow up. Because they're like, they could be a fake family trying to get into the school for the prestige, and they're mostly right, and then they never follow up.
And they never follow up.
Which is hilarious.
That would break the story.
Obviously. But what I loved about it is that they're throwing in all of these plants, these manufactured obstacles to test them. And then there's an unexpected complication where a real crisis happens, and they're like, oh, our heroes are like, oh man, they got really extreme with their plans, and this house and the schoolmasters are like, wait, we didn't plan for this.
Whose bright idea was this? No, I thought it was yours. Wait, don't tell me this is a real crisis.
Yeah. And then
somebody let the cattle out.
Somebody made the cow mad. Sorry, I just realized the cow is having a cow.
True.
That was probably the highlight for me, when the bull is going nuts and you're just just pressure points this cow into submission
in the most epic way possible.
Agreed.
I literally,
yes.
when I saw that, literally, I wrote in my notes, "This is why I love anime."
And then she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I learned how about pressure points in yoga, and I thought it might be the same here."
Yeah, and then
Okay.
Anya just walks
Funny.
up to it. It's just like, "Hi, cow. I'm sorry." And then the cow just like, "Oh, I'm happy again," and just walks.
Yeah.
off.
They're going home now.
They're going home now. And it's like it's just all of the escalation with that was absolutely brilliant.
And that's before you get to the actual interview.
Well, yeah. Then you get to the actual interview, and they, even though, as you pointed out, Anya's telepathy is kind of OP. They figure out how to give her complications in this because she can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
She can't cheat nearly as well with this because Twilight and Yor are thinking up the completely wrong answers that she can't really steal, but she tries to steal them anyway, and it
yet
just makes
somehow
her
that
sound
works.
weird.
Yes.
It makes her sound weird, but it works. So, but the main thing that happens is you do not trigger the parents.
No.
No.
Good night. No.
Because, oh Lord.
So this is what I was the thing about Anya's actual parents, her birth parents, is kind of what I was referring to with the issues, and this is the only spot they've really gone into it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, that was good.
Especially her past.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, this is, as far as I've watched it, they have yet to actually go into how she got the telepathy.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a suspicion, this is a suspicion, it's connected to whatever Donovan Desmond, the person he's trying to get close to, is actually involved with. I suspect it's all going to come together like that eventually.
But oh my,
we don't know yet.
That interview is, oh my gosh.
And that one
it's like,
guy,
just, headmaster, calm down a little bit.
Yeah, the middle.
I think everyone was ready to punch him.
Oh yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah, the guy who just got divorced and he just wants to grill these people because he hates them. Just because they at least seem to be a happy family, and he just takes a shot at Yor and Anya's original mother, which hurts her, and then the murderous look on Yor.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the look on Lloyd's face as he's going in for the punch.
Which was crazy. That was a nice subversion right there, where you think he's actually throwing a punch, and then he just breaks the table, and he says, "You know what? Your school's not good enough." And there actually is a
mosquito there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a mosquito. And guess what? You guys aren't good enough for our daughter. And then they walk out, and then Henderson punches the guy.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And I remember watching this originally because I was watching this as it was coming out, and I'm thinking, you just shot your mission in the foot. How are you going to explain this to the people you work for, Lloyd, that you didn't get this little girl into the school because you punched the guy for being a jerk? I think you're going to get fired for that, Twilight. But not going to get into that because it's a spoiler for the next episode.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is so incredibly entertaining, and the irony of it is that you have characters who would normally be considered absolutely despicable people, especially Yor.
Yeah.
And you find out that underneath all of these veneers, whether they want to admit it or not, especially Twilight really doesn't want to admit it. They all want wholesome family values.
Yeah,
agreed.
They're just putting on fronts. Anya's probably got the thinnest mask out of all of them, because she actually vocalizes that she wants these things.
Well, she's too young to be able to have a thick cover. Over these feelings.
Right.
I mean, she's 4 for crying out loud.
Yeah. we know that Yor wants it. You get the impression that Yor doesn't enjoy being an assassin. She would rather have a family.
I don't know if she doesn't like being an assassin, but she does feel like it's made her strange.
Yeah.
And she wants a more normal life, but at the same time, she still wants to keep doing what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. And Twilight is so focused.
Mm-hmm.
He's so freaked.
Twilight's so focused, he's oblivious to everything around him.
Yeah, he's so focused, he's oblivious. But I've seen that mask crack a little bit because he's just like, wait, I actually care.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah.
This isn't just a mission.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can already tell that I've already gotten a sense of the setup here, which is they're a found family. They're faking it being a family, but they're going to end up being a real family. And they're all people who are kind of broken, but they end up really helping and needing each other.
Yeah.
So that's what, weirdly enough, makes it incredibly wholesome.
I will say, having read the manga, and the anime does pretty much stick to what the manga's doing. This first half of season 1, you can kind of tell, especially with the manga, that he didn't know how far this was going to go and was kind of already working towards his end game, the writer was. And then it became popular enough that he had to find a way to keep it going in a way. So that you get to that second half, really after the dog joins, and it kind of backs off from this a little. And it does kind of get a bit ridiculous how they aren't noticing some things, but it gets interesting from here on out.
I've listened to your show enough to know.
Yeah, I've kind of been evangelizing this show a little.
Well, you and several other people who are in our friend circle.
Yes, certain people who do devotions.
Of the geeky variety.
Yeah,
exactly.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I will say we have been, over the course of the past 2 years, geeking out together in Discord.
So I will say, I've only seen the first 4 episodes, but so far the hype is real.
The hype is real. The next episode, I will say though, is based on 3 pages of the manga. Not even a whole chapter. It's based on 3 pages, and they expand on something that happens and go like full deep into what the manga just decided not to go into. But even though it's a ridiculous episode, it's a great episode. That being said, I think episode 10 is still my favorite. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it for the show. Nathan, I know you've been on the show enough times that people probably already know everything about it. And plus, we've promoted your show shamelessly many times tonight already.
We did. That was pretty epic. I mean, it's like a little bonus. With not only do I get to be on the show and torture you, I get to.
You get free promotion every week.
I get free promotion every week, and apparently I have a fan amongst your fans. Like he's like, oh my gosh, Nate's on the show. I'm so excited.
I can tell you that he's a fan because we turned him on to you. Because we kept, especially with the Donkey Kongs, when we did Super Mario, I was talking about Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Yes,
I think it came up before that point, but I was like, oh yeah, if you really want to know more, go listen to Nate. He explains this greatly.
Yes, I do. Couple of times actually.
Yes.
And it was the King Kong Lives episode where I
will try to remember that the next time it comes up, because it's like, I think it was the first one, but it may have been a different one. I don't know.
There was a standalone one, but I got really deep into it in the King Kong Lives episode.
So that being said, why don't you shamelessly self-promote yourself, considering it is your spiritual gift?
Yes, it is. Yes, I've it's one of my many talents. But yes, obviously, you know about the Film Vault. That's been thoroughly, shamelessly promoted tonight. But also check out Henshin Men, which Drew was on for a handful of episodes. He was basically my new
5
co-host.
episodes.
We had a Drew era of Henshin Men.
I was a guest host, a very elongated guest host, but a guest host.
Yes. Yeah, where we talked about black cats and paintings and
Oh my word, that episode. At least it wasn't at least we're not talking about the flying cars. I have reviewed 2 tokusatsu episodes in my life involving flying cars, and if I ever have to see another one,
I understand. So that one is focused on Henshin Hero Television, primarily the original Kamen Rider, although it branched out into a few other things here and there. The final episode of that iteration of the show should hopefully be out relatively soon. It has been recorded. It needs to be edited. It will also serve as a bonus episode for the Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise, which Drew was also on
for
to talk about Car Ranger.
That episode.
Because Signal Man has not given us permission to like Turbo.
Signal Man will never give us permission to like Turbo. Jacob has no idea what we're talking about.
No, which is totally fine. It's totally fine. So I co-hosted that with Michael Hamilton. And that's more or less wrapped up. There will be, like I said, the Henshin Men recording will also be released as a bonus episode on there, and I will explain why in a second. However, Michael and I are planning on doing a epilogue, coda, whatever you want to call it, for the Power Trip once Legend of the White Dragon comes out, whenever that is. We're not sure.
It better come out
anymore.
soon. I'm actually really wanting to see that.
I know. They keep postponing it, and it's driving me a little
It's like,
crazy.
how much more work can be done?
Right. But the reason why that was a dual recording and a dual release is because, and I won't get into all the details here, but there will be a spin-off / sequel / reboot / whatever to both shows that should hopefully launch a fusion. There might have been a dance involved.
Maybe some earrings.
And some earrings. Yes. It will hopefully premiere Ultraman Day this year, which will be July 10th.
All right.
And it will pick up where both shows left off. So for those of you who wanted more Sentai coverage, you're going to get it. You will get it, along with a lot of other cool stuff. But you'll get more details about that with the final episode of Henshin Men. Also, I am a writer, so check out my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com, where you can get information on all of my books and some occasional blogs where I wax philosophical about whatever's on my mind that day. I'm also a contributing writer to Kaiju United, which is a kaiju-themed news and news site, and some editorials and such on there. And I'm working on all kinds of different book projects for such publishers as Wild Hunt Press and all that fun stuff. So I've always got stuff in the works and stuff always coming out. I'm also part of Carl Dutton's stable of actors on Scyther podcasts, and I have been on both Power Rangers, the audio drama, and X-Men, the audio drama, and I will soon make my major character debut. I've done some bit roles. I will make my major character debut on the Avengers spinoff from the X-Men show, which is being done by Carl's friend Mitch. I'm Johnny Storm, baby.
Nice.
That episode should be out pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly when. Episode 2 just came out. So, I don't know, month or so, maybe? Yeah, not sure. But, that'll be exciting when that comes out.
Right.
So I think that's basically everything, but I'm trying to keep it short because we've gone on long.
Yeah, we went on longer on this episode. I think any of us expected to. So yeah, join us next week for Kung Fu Panda 2, and find out if Anya actually made it into Eden Academy next week. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And Nate.
and we will catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at ggeorge759. His Twitter at ggeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell, with a single L.
Oh, Daddy, look, boobies!
Really?
I couldn't help it.
You know, that would make more sense at the end of Evangelion.
Oh my gosh.